nice copper coin. But Doug, do you know what time it is?
45 up.
Who says 45 of, Doug? It's quarter after. What's up, guys? QuarterHoarder here, and welcome to the newest quarter after. Man, I'll tell you, I don't know if you were getting down on that theme song, but I was like really grooving. I really like it. Maybe Brad influenced me when I went up and dug with him because he's such a musically and talented guy, or whatever I'm saying. But like I said, if you didn't see it already, the return of the Green Mountain Man himself, Brad, will be on in about 15 minutes. It should be a fun show. Got lots of questions, lots of funny stories. He's a good dude, and man, I enjoy having him on. But let's bring on some other people that I enjoy having on. And one of them is Mr. Dog Tag Doug, Mexican Doug, Jane Fond Doug. How are you, Dougie?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Look good. Are you streaming this on the new laptop, Dougie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I look so good.
You do. It looked good. Do you have like one of those filters on? Because you look like a young stallion.
It's got a built-in makeup artist and everything.
Yeah, I believe you have like tissue paper that comes over and softens out the wrinkles and all that stuff. But I'm glad you made it. I'll give a couple of quick hellos, Doug, because I'm seeing some new faces in there.
Yeah.
Crazy Spider Adventures is in there. It's a good buddy of ours, Mind Lab Detectors too. We haven't seen him in a while, but looking forward to it again, John. Gary Lacarte, Corn Smoke, Philip Michaels, Jersey Ray Diggs, Rachel in here. In fact, Doug, when we were detecting this weekend, Rachel called me. I don't like to be a bad news guy, but a friend of ours passed. If you remember, Doug, Donna Funk, who hosted the deal hunt, down by the shore. Her and her husband, Bob, great ambassadors to the hobby, really nice people. So I do want to give my condolences to the Funk family. She will be missed. Jay Cook is in the chat. Paul Nardelli, S. Brown, metal detecting with the Rebel, George Siegel, NEPA History and Archaeology Search, Stephen Stark, Dave and Laura, who might be our good friends, the Chumleys, Samuel Wells, Gloria, Robert. I'm going to mess up his name.
Legendary.
What is it?
Legendary.
I thought it was legendary, like it was French, like the G was a soft G.
I don't know. He'll correct us.
Thank you, Robert, for the super chat, and I'm glad you're here joining us. Doug, another guy I'm glad is here joining us is the Heritage Relic Hunter himself, Mr. Charles Harley. How are you, sir?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Charlie, I've never seen you look more handsome, Charlie, than with that beard you're growing in. It looks good.
And you think I look like a college professor?
I think you look like a college professor at like one of those elite Ivy League schools, like Princeton. Not like not like some inner city school.
Right. Well, this is my hunting beard for the fall here.
Okay. Oh, so when the deer see you, they don't notice you. You blend in more.
Yeah. I sneaked up on him with that beard.
No.
The word's out on Charlie in the deer community that they're soon to be harvested if he's around, and so he puts on that makeup and beard and sneaks up on him and bags him anyway.
Well, if this weather continues to be cold as it is and as windy as it is, 50 miles an hour winds today here.
Yes, it's been really cold.
It was really rough.
Hey, Jay, we got somebody from Morrisville, PA, Kevin Lee. Right
Morrisville. I'm not familiar with Morrisville, but
right across the river from Trenton.
Okay, that's your neck of the woods, Dougie.
That's my neck.
Lost Boys Recovery, Andy in the chat. How are you, Andy? It's good to see him too. I don't know, Charlie, if you saw Brad's cheap plug Green Mountain Metal Detecting Facebook page. Brad got like 10 inches of snow today alone.
Wow.
And that I think that's like a normal everyday Thursday in Vermont in the winter.
In Vermont.
Like I would go stir crazy if,
Well, Erie, PA had 5 feet.
5 feet of snow? 5. Wow, that's like impossible. Are they really high elevation?
No.
It's just that they're all.
They get that lake effect.
Lake effect. 5 feet of snow.
Oh, holy mackerel!
Yeah, seriously, it was crazy up there.
Well, I know that is. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I like to be able to come and go, and I wouldn't want to be stuck inside.
We had it about an inch here where I live.
Really?
Yeah, today.
Well, Charlie, talking about having an inch here, let's bring in Mr. Rich Van Winkle and Lindiana Jones.
That was the worst segue yet.
That was awful.
Poor kid.
I always wait for the perfect segue, and then bring in Rich.
You think that was perfect, huh?
Now before Brad comes in 9 minutes, everybody. So get ready for an action packed night, Doug. Tomorrow is our yearly QuarterHoarder Christmas party that we're doing at Lynn's house. We all bring some food. It's a great time. Lynn's house is an amazing museum of colonial antiques.
Great.
I was debating on doing some small video clips or something like that. Do you think the wives would mind, Doug, or the spouses? Sorry, Lynn, the spouses.
No, they're not going to say anything.
I have a really good game I was going to play. Listen to this, Charlie. I'm going to take a picture of all of us, the crew that goes out every week and digs. And then I was going to get a picture of all of the spouses by themselves.
And you got to
put a number above everyone's head, and I'll put on Facebook. You have to guess whose spouse is whose.
It's
what do you
not going to
think?
be too hard.
Maybe we'll give a prize out. I'll give out a prize. So
Sounds like fun.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, would anybody mind? I don't think my wife would mind. In fact, I asked her. She said she was okay with it.
Yeah.
Rich, would your significant other mind? Is she shy like that?
Not really for pictures, no.
All right. So even if I'm filming, as long as I tell her it's a picture, she's good.
In general, she should be okay.
It kind of works the same way. Some of the moderators, Doug, I don't want to leave them out before it starts. Alicia, Hot Mess Fishing, always here, always helping out. Really appreciate her.
Always on time.
Always, yeah. If you guys haven't checked her channel out, make sure you go give it a click. Hot Mess Fishing. She's funny. She's enthusiastic. Quite the detectorist and an all-around good person. And, of course, Teresa the Treasure Hunter, another good friend of ours who travels all over the United States detecting. We see her at a lot of events. Always has a smile on her face. We pick nothing but the best people to help moderate the show. Doug, what do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely.
My throat's already sore. Brad's not even here yet.
Get ready.
Well, we were talking about Brad a little bit before the show. I'm going to have him come on in 4 minutes. So tell all your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, gather around the fireplace and listen to Brad. But if you're not familiar with his scenario, Brad had a bit of an illness and he was gone from the platform, at least like with modern stuff, for I think almost a month, Doug. And it felt like there was just like a hole in the metal detecting universe. You know what I mean? Like he's been a staple for so long. So I'm so glad he was back. When I called this quarter after the return of Brad Martin, it's not only the return on our show, but it's his return to the metal detecting world. And I'm glad he's feeling better, and we'll hear his whole story in 3 short minutes, Doug.
You're only giving him 3 minutes?
I'm going to cut him off a lot. I'm going to cut him off. I try to keep it moving.
Okay.
Jersey Ray Diggs. He said, that's why you didn't pick me. Only the bestest. Only didn't pick you. For the moderator. Maybe I will, Jersey Ray Diggs. It wasn't like I was.
You can't have too many moderators.
You can't have too many of them. In fact, let me see. Maybe I'll. I'm going to. Can I do that like on the fly? Let me see. Let me see if I can do that. Hold on. Look at this, Doug. This is live on impromptu. Everyone, welcome my newest moderator, Rachel Jersey Ray Diggs. Thank you.
Ray.
She is here a lot. I know her. The criteria for moderator is I need to know you in real life.
Right.
And I think I need to think you're a decent person. And she checks those 2 boxes.
Yes.
That's why Doug's not a moderator.
That's correct. I wouldn't know what to do as a moderator.
Well, and that's another thing. You need to. Now, listen, we don't have a lot of shenanigans on our show. I think we have a pretty good group that comes in. But, sometimes there's like,
It gets a little randy now.
Some shenanigans.
Yeah.
And I want another thing, Doug. I'll let this out of the bag because in case we run late at the end, we have 2 more live streams for this year, and then we're going to take a break for Christmas and New Year. I don't know if you're familiar with next week's guest, but he's a fossil hunter. He's a shark tooth hunter, detectorist, beginnings of detectorist. He's got a big YouTube channel called Wild Kyle. Have you ever seen or heard of him before, Doug?
Yes.
Good dude. I talked to him on the phone for about an hour. Really good guy, knowledgeable. I got so many fossil questions, and Matt Howe piqued our interest, and he's going to come in next week and fill in a lot of gaps in our knowledge base.
We have to keep him away from Charlie, our resident fossil.
Charlie will have good questions. I believe in it. So next week, Wild Kyle will be on. And then 2 weeks from now, Doug, who no one even knows yet because we just talked and booked it last night. The closeout show for the year will be another Brad, who you guys all know, Mr. Brad Johns, known from the Hoover Boys, who's going to be talking about jewelry, what to look for, what not to look for. Really good, funny guy. He's going to be on in 2 weeks. So we're going to close out December with back-to-back Brads. What do you think of that, Doug?
Wow. I'll have a rival for best looking guy on the screen.
Yeah, I
was going to say, for once, Doug, you're going to be number 2.
Number 2.
I think he just got back from Scotland.
Yeah, he just got back from Scotland, and I don't want to take his thunder away.
No,
but he'll have a lot of stuff. And then I'm already lining up guests for January. It's going to be an action-packed 2025 too, because I like meeting new people, and there's a lot of cool, interesting people out there, Charlie. But wait, listen, let's enough of this stuff now. Why don't we bring in tonight's super cool, interesting person? I'm sure you guys all know him. He is a staple on YouTube. He's all over Facebook, one of the most respected, not only treasure hunters, but cinematographers on the platform. When you see his video, you're going to subscribe. He is just a good dude, and I like to consider a good close friend of mine too, Doug. So let's bring in the one and only king of the Green Mountain, Brad Martin.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you for that.
Brad, let me put you over there. I'm not Brad. There he is. Brad, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah. It's been a rough couple months. I don't know if people have seen my updates on my channel, but I've been lucky enough. I'm almost 40 and I've never been unwell really in my entire life. And in the middle of September, I passed out at a restaurant and I got rushed to the emergency room, and I was basically bedbound for a month and a half. The
whole thing is so scary, Brad. I mean, you texted me when you collapsed, and I was like, oh, sometimes I thought maybe you stood up too fast. Sometimes you get lightheaded, but you told me you went to the ER, and I got really worried about you. And then when I saw you posting updates on your YouTube page, I thought, oh man, this might be serious.
Right.
What happened, and where are you down that road? Because before the show started, I did say you look better, man. You got some color back. You look good.
Yeah. So, I've been posting pretty much weekly on YouTube and social media for the better part of a decade, and back in September, I had to stop. And I didn't really stop. I stopped posting new content. I had to start kind of posting reruns, which was like a last resort, instead of posting nothing. But yeah, no, like I said, I kind of was bedbound for about a month and a half, and I saw many doctors, and I had all of the tests that were available, and everybody was like, "You're perfectly healthy." But I was just, I had like brain fog is a term that kind of gets thrown around, and it's a very benign word for what I was feeling. Like I didn't drive for about a month because it just felt like like I attempted a few times, and it just felt like I had to concentrate so intently on the task, and I was failing to do so. It just felt very unsafe. And I felt like that all the time. and the whole right side of my body was like tingly and numb and not working right, and started losing
Wow.
dexterity in my fingers, and just a bunch of really strange symptoms that all the doctors are like, well, all of your scans look good, and we'll just kind of wait it out and see what happens. And it's been 11 weeks, and I'm about like 70-80%. I'm like 90-100% some days, but then not so much other days. So like I'm just riding it out. We'll see what happens.
Are you still having days where you're waking up and you're feeling like 20%, or are your bad days now 50%?
Yeah, my bad days now are like 60-70%.
All right,
And
well, that's better.
yeah, I've been like left to my own devices these last 11 weeks, and like every day I'm writing down all of my symptoms, how I'm feeling 1 to 10, and then I took all of that and I put it on a calendar and like color coded it and everything. So like I look back and there's like a lot of red, which is bad days, and more orange and more green, and so I'm going in the right direction, but it's the hardest part is like not knowing what it was.
I was gonna say, that's the most frustrating thing, is that you really don't have any answers, and you got to be worried, like, could this come back again next month? Like, I don't know what to proactively do to help myself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I went through like a bunch of rabbit holes, both, from my doctor and also just like personally thinking like, all right, well, what could this be? I'm not getting any answers. Like, could it be like a food allergy? Right. And so I have a good friend who has like diagnosed celiac disease. I'm like, well, he said it kind of sounded similar to what he was going through before he was diagnosed. So I cut out gluten for 2 weeks, and that didn't do anything. And I was like, well, maybe it's like a pinched nerve or a disc thing. So I started seeing a masseuse, and that didn't really do anything. And I'm just, everything I can. My doctor thought maybe it was Lyme disease, so he gave me a month of Doxy, and that didn't do anything. So who knows?
Well, that is frustrating, man. I mean, maybe it's a blessing that it's winter time and you're not out and about for what gives your body a chance to, to really get back to full strength by spring.
Right. And it was two weeks ago now, I was able to go out before our snow hit. Like you said, we got almost a foot today. But about 2 weeks ago, I was able to do 2 half days at our friend Rebecca's property. Rebecca's been in several videos within the last, many months now. But it's just because she lives down the road and she owns like hundreds of acres of land, historic farmland and forest and around old buildings and stuff. So I was able to take the ride down the road and spend a couple half days with her. So tomorrow's video is going to be like the first video that I've filmed since September.
It'll be a real up-to-date one.
It'll be an update. 2 weeks ago. But it's going to be like, because since then it's all been reruns and videos filmed pre-illness. So,
right.
And I try to make it very clear that these are older videos, but I still get all of the wonderful comments from people saying, you look great. You have so much energy. Yeah. But it's like, well, that was before,
I noticed that, when Rich and I went up and we dug at, where were we? Massachusetts, Rich? Connecticut. Right. After that whole thing, I didn't put my videos out for about 5 or 6 weeks later because I've, have a lot in the tank.
Sure.
So when I put mine out, you were in the middle of your hiatus. So people were commenting, oh, so glad to see Brad's back. Right. Oh, and I didn't want to just keep telling them over and over. So I just they'll figure it out.
It's been a very kind of like unique, unusual experience for me. Cause like I said, I've never been ill before. Yeah. And with this kind of, public facing personal thing that's going on with me, people have been so incredible. Like I've received so many letters and messages and emails and phone calls from folks like you guys, wonderful messages, and friends from the hobby, but also just like, I say total strangers. Right, I don't know who they are, but they know who I am. Right.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really wonderful. And it's been, like I said, one of the hardest parts about this is just like not knowing what it is. And it's very easy to kind of go down. I mentioned those rabbit holes of like a pinched nerve, but it's also very easy to go down the rabbit holes of like very, very bad things.
Sure.
And all of the positive messages and stuff have been able to pull me out of some of those holes,
It is nice. I mean, I agree with you that, I hate to use the word strangers. I don't know what another word would be, but people that watch and feel like they know who we are, but we don't know them in return. It's amazing that it's such a positive community. And, you watch the news or you watch videos and it looks like the world is just like cutthroat and everybody hates each other. But I don't find that personally. I really think
Sure.
people do
Absolutely.
care about each other. And it's nice to hear that everyone reached out to you. And sometimes just a text or an email or a quick message, it kind of brightens up your day a little bit.
Yeah, I'll get a message from somebody who maybe I haven't spoken to in several months and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Wow, thank you for asking."
No,
Just like little things like that.
It makes you feel better. I mean, Charlie, have you ever had a bout where you were just like down and out like that? I remember you had like an incident last year where you kind of had an incident while we were out detecting.
Yeah, that's right. We were together that day, and all of a sudden, someone said, "Hey, he's laying down in the grass," and I wasn't passed out. It's just that I just everything just left me, and here I found out from having COVID like 3 weeks before, I ended up having blood clots in my lungs, and then
wow.
Judy came over and picked me up and went to emergency room, and I was there for about 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we called Judy and we waited by your truck. And now, luckily, you didn't pass out, but and you had friends around, which can help you out. A lot of times, Brad's by himself, and if he said, "Oh, I'm feeling better, I'm going to go trek out into the wilderness," God forbid something happens, that's got to weigh on his mind too. I'm assuming because
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the
incident with me 2 weeks later, I was in England then.
I know you had a quick recovery.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster if you were happened there. Huh?
Go. He said with my medicine I was taking, he said you're all right to go. So
wow,
I think I was able to continue my journey.
Yeah, he was going to have to cancel, and last minute he made it.
I was out to the restaurant. It was like 7, 8 o'clock, but 2 o'clock I was on top of a mountain in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Wow.
And I felt great. I felt like strong. I was talking into my camera. I felt sharp. I was reciting all the things I was supposed to recite, and then hiked out and went out to dinner. And
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Lucky,
it
I guess.
happens. I mean, taking care of yourself and your health is very underrated. Well, I don't say underrated, but it's often not spoken of. But what's more important than that, Doug, is taking care of numero uno. Doug, you awake up there?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
I'm listening intently.
Okay.
That's the thing too, is because like I have friends who don't take care of themselves, and they're just like,
hey, me,
perfectly healthy. But like I run like 15, 20 miles a week. Like I've never drank alcohol. I've never smoked anything. I've like eat well. And just one day I just was in the emergency room for who knows what. It's like, it's not fair.
Well, it is fair because think of it like this, Brad. Maybe if you weren't healthy, that episode would have been much worse.
That's true.
So I think, if you can do something to take care of yourself, it only can behoove you. Doug likes it when I say behoove. That's why I try to throw that in every week. I try to throw behoove every week. Now, I wanted to bring in a couple of things. I'm glad Brad's starting to feel better. But I wanted to talk a little bit, Rich, about some of Brad's finds lately, because now when I say lately, in his videos lately, now they might be out of order, out of timeline, but I'm always interested because seems like Brad keeps finding some really bizarre silver things. So I wanted to do a timeline picture, Rich. I'm going to bring it up into a bigger screen so everyone can see it. Well, I'll just do that. I'll just do it like this. So, here was the first one, Rich. And this one, when we were out in Massachusetts, or Connecticut, I'm sorry, Brad found this sterling silver cow, which he's reaching for something. He might have it right there. Do you have it there? Let me bring him back.
I have it.
Oh, see if you can mimic the picture, Brad. Mimic the picture.
Okay.
Hold on, we're going to mimic the picture. It took me 20 minutes to get this picture of Brad.
I'm not going to be able to focus my camera on it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
You had it.
Yeah, look, right there, Doug. Right there. Oh, he's giving me the sexy eyes. He's giving me sexy eyes.
Super chat from Indiana Unearthed.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
and Rich Kenny.
Yes, thank you. Indiana Unearthed, Rich Kenny. And I saw one from mainly Dirt Fishing earlier when Brad was talking. Thank you guys for joining in. But this picture, Brad, it was the very first thing we found the whole day, Rich, right by this bull thing. And Brad pulled out this metal thing, and he instantly said, I think this is silver. Now I'm used to going with Doug, and Doug says everything is silver, Brad. It can
Well,
say
yeah.
7-Up real big on the side of it, and he'll be like, "I think it's silver," and I got to walk over.
Well, I'm pretty sure in my video I edited out Jason saying it was lead like 10 times.
Thank you. No, I did notice that, and I appreciate it. But I think I said it looks like lead before I held it in my hand.
Maybe.
Because the weight would have given it up. And to be generous, I edited out some pretty stupid things you said that week. Because that's what friends do, Lynn. That's what friends do. So, but this was the start of Brad's silver streak in his videos. I'm going to bring in the next one, Rich, because he had a couple of really good ones here. This one was a great one.
I have an awful story about that one. Keep going.
This picture was taken by yours truly, and I don't get the credit that Brad does for his cinematic eye, but it was good enough that Brad used it for his thumbnail, so that's how good it was. But Brad has in his hand, Doug, it's an incredible
shoe buckle, right?
sterling shoe buckle. I'm going to bring a close-up picture of it because
is it a knee buckle, Brad?
I'm sorry,
it is a knee buckle.
Knee buckle.
Let me bring up a closer-up picture, Doug, because. Now, when I walked over, this is how I saw it in Brad's hand, and I was like, "Oh, that's great," but something looks a little suspicious.
Yes,
meat to it.
It looked like Rich dug it up.
It's as I said. It looked like Rich may have hit it.
What did I call him, Jay?
We called him. Darn it, Brad. What was the nickname we gave you?
Brad Nixon, wasn't it?
No, it was something. Yeah. No, it was something better than
what Jay said first, but it's what I texted you.
What was it, Rich?
I'd have to look, I guess.
Rich, go back in your thing. Go back in your phone and check.
Yeah.
There was a really good nickname. Now, listen, that's really thin. No shame in breaking it. I'm sure he was bummed, but we've all broken things. It was no less of an incredible find, a sterling knee buckle. And I think I have a picture here that I borrowed from Brad's video because he did put it back together again, Doug. And look at that. You can almost not even notice it.
Just
so I just glued it together with
super glue.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something more poignant.
Cyanoacetate or whatever it's called. So I glued it together. It took me like an hour with like the tip of a toothpick, right? Just a little bit. And I had to glue it, and then I would dip it in acetone and take it all apart and then try again because it's a little bent. Because somebody hit it with their shovel. And so it's a little bit cupped. And so it was very difficult to get those four pieces to all line up the way they're supposed to.
And if you tried to flatten it, it probably would have snapped into more pieces.
And so it was all glued, and I snapped that photo, and it was great. And I kind of put it on my display case. And during this little episode here, I was like feeling better, and I was down here and I was kind of organizing some of my treasures and stuff. And I was noticing like my fingers, I was like losing dexterity in my fingers. And what did I do is I dropped the thing on my countertop, and it broke into all four pieces again. And I haven't had the dexterity to glue it back together again, but I will glue it back together.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
but it is.
It's hard to tell in this picture, Doug, but 1, 2, 3, 4 clean breaks.
Yeah.
And then when he put it back together, I mean, look at that. You can hardly even notice. It's a shame it broke again.
It did. But I mean, it broke in all the same spots. So I just have to glue it back together again.
Yeah. Someone asked what kind of glue was it? Who asked that, Doug? I think he said it was just plain old dollar store super glue.
It was, the fancy term is cyano. So is it cyanoacetate?
Oh, I didn't know there was a fancy term for it.
Oh yeah, it's just super glue or crazy glue, or it has that distinct smell to it, and it dries instantly, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny is whenever I use super glue for any reason whatsoever, I always break out rubber gloves because as hard as I try, I get it on me somewhere.
For sure.
And I mean, I am like painstakingly careful too. And I'll be like, yes, I'm good. And I'll lift my hands up and like everything's stuck to my fingers.
Sure.
Do you have a trick to working with super glue so that I don't make a mess and get it all over myself?
It's just acetone will dissolve it. And that's what I'll use to get it off my hands. And that's what I'll get it off other surfaces and stuff. And just use a little bit. They have like really nice like gel glue now, where it doesn't just like run all over the place. It's a little bit, it kind of sticks to what you put it on a little bit better. That works well. And they have the zapper that you can spray on and makes it dry instantly.
Oh, really? Oh, that's kind of cool. Because I noticed in the picture, I'll bring it up again. Oh, Gone Digging Matt joined in the show tonight. How are you, Matt? He uses plain Elmer's glue, he said, but that makes those white globbies, doesn't it?
Elmer's glue?
Yeah.
I've heard about people using Elmer's glue to like coat pewter items to kind of protect them. But I've never heard of.
Pretty good. It was broken.
I wouldn't have thought that it'd be strong enough to keep two pieces of metal together, but maybe.
Maybe on the backside, just as like a tack weld, just to hold it so you can super glue the front. Because I don't even see any glue residue. So
no,
must have,
I went over the top of it with the acetone afterwards to take it off the face.
Yeah, well, it looks great. I mean, terrific.
It did.
And I know Doug would have a heart attack if he found a sterling silver knee buckle. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now let me go to the next find, Doug. He had a couple of real winners here. And I forget the order that I have them in. Oh, this is another one that he found up there with us, Doug. And we found lots of silver spoons over the years. I knew it was silver the second he opened his hand up. But then I was like, wait a minute, that's not a spoon. Like, can you see the bowl? It almost looks like a fire ash shovel.
Yeah.
And again, I grabbed a picture from Brad's because, you know, that's what he's got there. I'm sure Lynn's heard of this before.
Yeah.
A sugar shovel. And the coolest thing about, and I'll let Brad tell the story, if you can see that script writing on the side, there was some significance to that from the place we were hunting. I'll let Brad tell the story.
Yeah, well, first I want to get the elephant in the room out of the way, and that is this was during kind of a dig off moment. Do you remember this, Jason?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, that's
so I got this target. I got this. Oh, that's coming up. I'll save it.
That's
I'll
okay.
Save it.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So we were doing a little bit of a dig off. I had this wonderful high tone target, ended up being this silver sugar shovel. But 15 feet away from me, Rich had a target that he said, this sounds pretty good on his metal detector. What is the exact model and product code for that?
I'm going to give you one back.
Okay.
So I have something, but you're right.
So yeah. So I swiped over it with my Deus 2 and I didn't hear anything, and I was like, if that ends up being something good, I will switch machines.
Yes.
And I walked away.
Doug, Brad, can you say that one more time, please?
Yeah. I said, if that ends up being something good, I will switch machines. And so I walked away and I dug up my sugar shovel, and you had it was a flat button, right? A big dandy coat button.
A big dandy button. Yeah.
It was a big dandy button. Yeah. He just calls it a flat button, trying to lower your fine.
Jason also said he probably wouldn't have dug that signal.
But not digging it and not hearing it.
That's true.
That's two different things.
That's true.
And I didn't put it in my video because I didn't want to hurt Brad's possible sponsorship future, but he did say that if that turns out to be anything, I'm going to switch machines.
To be fair, it was like an hour before the event ended, and I probably had my discrimination set up to like 70 or 80 or something. That's going to be my excuse for that. But so anyway, so I found the sugar shovel, and I recognized the name Wilson because an hour or two earlier. Do you want me to wait to stop talking until you can?
No. You can. I was trying to get the picture up. You keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. I'm just a hot mess.
And across the street, I don't remember who the gentleman who found it.
I don't remember his name either.
But somebody found a full-size silver spoon that also had the name Wilson, and I don't honestly remember the story behind it. But it was one of the older families from the middle of the 1800s that lived there were the Wilsons. And so for some reason, one ended up on one side of the road and this ended up on the other side of the road. But it was pretty cool that both of them were found.
Yeah. And from what I remember, because the house where you found this, that guy brought me in and gave me a full tour of the house. That's the house, Lynn, where I was texting you pictures of the tin lanterns up in the attic. Talk about a scary story, Brad, is that I don't know this guy from Adam. You saw him. Like when we met him, we're hunting his front yard. His front door is wide open, Doug, the whole time. And right in the front door that you can see, is a set of stairs and a rifle leaning up against the stairs, like a modern rifle. I wasn't sure if meant like, go ahead, guys, try something. Like that's, I
Right.
wasn't sure
Of
that's what it meant.
course. Of course.
So when the guy says that he comes out, and of course he always picks me. Hey, you want to come take a tour of my house? Okay, you know. So I go in the house. Hey, do you want to go upstairs and check out my attic? Oh yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
I was hoping you'd say that.
So me and this stranger with a rifle sitting there go up in his attic, and I'm tall, Doug. I mean, the attic's like 3 feet tall, so I'm crawling around. But then in the back, he had all these beautiful tin hand-punched lanterns. So I'm taking pictures and I'm texting Lynn and
You called
all
me.
that fun stuff.
We were on the phone.
I tried to. It wasn't very good reception in the guy's attic because I think that's where he ties up all his prisoners. So I was trying to get near a window. But where was I going with this, Brad?
With the story of the Wilson spoon.
Oh yeah. So anyway, for this guy told me that the house his house was the original farmhouse, and the house across the street was a tenant house, and it was all one property, 200 years ago or whatever.
Gotcha.
So I guess the Wilsons were moving all over the place.
Right.
And that's where Brad, I don't know why I keep doing that. That's where Brad got that super cool sugar shovel, which I'd never even heard of. And there's even a manufacturer right here. I don't know if Brad remembers what it is.
I don't remember what it said, but I do remember looking it up, and it was like 1840, 1860, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And Lynn, what do they call this part right here that like rounds out on a spoon handle?
What are you looking at? Oh, is it like the
Isn't there a
heel or
name
something?
for a handle when it has that bump out? You call it a
it's sort of like it's not the
fiddleback. A fiddleback.
Well, the fiddleback is more of the handle.
Oh, just the handle.
Yeah, the handle part at the top.
All right. Well, anyway, but that was another one. Let me come back over to Brad because I think I had one more. Let me see here. And then
right.
in his video
so cool.
from like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, Brad finds this, Doug. Now, I wasn't with him, but when I saw this in his video, man, my jaw hit the floor. Look at the detail. That is a sterling silver guitar pin, Brad.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's a pin. This one has been a little bit of a mystery because it doesn't say. So it has the neck that was not attached.
I have the neck.
Yeah, the landowner had just come through with an excavator and taken like all of these like saplings and brush and stuff off of this hill, and so the neck was not attached to it, and the headstock was not there at all. And so I'm assuming it was a pin, and the telltale signs of the pin were on the headstock of it. But it's like this crazy fine. You can see how small it is compared to my fingers, right? But this,
I'm gonna go back. This picture really shows the detail.
Yeah, and it's hollow. We got all the dirt out of it using an ultrasonic cleaner, and it's hollow, and it's the same on the other side, except there's a little hole for like a guitar hole. But it doesn't say sterling on it. It doesn't say 925 on it anywhere. I mean, it's definitely silver.
100%.
And they say, if they don't have those markings, it could be like pre-1900
really old.
It is, right? But like the history of like a modern looking guitar doesn't really go back much earlier than late 1800s. So I'm not really sure. I don't think it's a fiddle because it had frets like a guitar does or like a lute does.
Okay.
And like there's no headstock, so we can't really tell how many strings it may have had. So like I said, it's kind of a mystery. As a guitar player, I'm like trying to analyze, like, could it be a guitar? Could it be some older ancestor of a guitar?
Sometimes, Brad, if it's all silver,
yeah.
Even the clasp, it's the 925 or the sterling mark will be on that, which may not be there anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right, Rich. Or maybe even the pin connected to the a guitar.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it could very well be 20th century. It probably is 20th century. But like a little sterling silver guitar pin is like perfect. I was so excited.
Now, with all that design of the hearts and everything, maybe I'm wrong, but it almost looks like Mexican or Spanish inspired. Am I off base on that?
That's what I thought. Mexican or actually from India.
India, the country?
Yes, they made a lot of
That's where the guitar originated, I think. Is that right, Brad? India?
I'm pretty sure guitar, the word is like a Middle Eastern word. I don't know if that necessarily means that's where it originated, but I think that it has a long history, and I'm not sure when it became a guitar officially. I'm pretty sure that was like not that long ago, the end of the 1800s. It's a great find, and like I said, we got it all cleaned out, and I'm pretty sure Rebecca is going to like bring it to a friend who's a jeweler and actually get that neck attached the right way, and like with silver solder and all that. And yeah, it's fun.
Now, this Rebecca, is it the same Rebecca who you're returning to for tomorrow's video?
Yeah, I've been on her property, her family's property 4 times now. And it's the kind of property that, I mean, you could go another 10 times and we're still going to find amazing stuff because there's just so much land. There's so many old buildings. There's just fields full of cellar holes and forest. And there's just infinite places to go. And it's like right down the road from me. So it's been like nice to not have to travel 2 hours away with my current situation. So yeah.
The trip after that, didn't you find a piece of an actual guitar at the same time?
That was the time before that one. It was the same property.
That.
Yeah. And she found it, but it was like the tailpiece of like an old parlor, probably like 1930s, 40s parlor guitar.
Yeah. She seems nice. I remember the first time you didn't find anything colonial, and not that matters, but
right. But it was a colonial home.
Right.
That's what we were hoping for,
Yeah. But I thought that little guitar thing was just stellar. I love interesting, unique things like that. And it was just absolutely gorgeous.
For sure.
And Rich, it had a really good segue, Rich, because I love an interesting segue. Let me bring this back up again.
You're not supposed to talk about the Segway first.
Have you ever tried to ride a Segway, Rich? The actual Segway thing?
I haven't.
Now, Brad, have you ever tried it?
I've never been on a Segway, no.
Charlie, Doug, Lynn, a Segway?
No.
No.
Looks scary.
Things that you just
no.
It's very scary.
I rode on one in Disney World. They had them there, and I rented one for a half an hour. And I don't know, it was probably easier than I made it seem, but I was just so nervous because I'm very uncoordinated, Doug. Like my legs don't do what my brain wants them to do. I'm like a giant stork, and I fall down a lot, things like that. So I tried to do it. I was so nervous. I just jumped off, and I was like, "Oh, the heck with it." It's intimidating, and it's heavy. It's big and heavy. But anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. Brad's silver guitar. The Segway is this, Rich. Let me bring this out for a second so I can set this up.
Long segue.
I'm taking the long route.
While you're doing that, the guitar as we know it today originated in Spain.
In Spain?
Yes, but it comes from the lyre, Lyre, that originated like 1500 BC by the Hittites, which are Mideast.
Did you know that, Doug, or did you have to Google it while we were talking?
Well, I knew it was from Spain, but I got a little bit more information by going to Google.
Good old Google.
Yes,
Doug is my technical guru during the show, and he's my.
If only I could use that on Jeopardy, I could win every game.
He's my fact checker. All right, my segue is ready, Rich. Now, Brad's silver guitar made me think of this clip that I'm really excited to show everybody. Now, Rich, you're familiar with my intro that I play on my videos and have for the last.
I don't watch your videos.
It looks like this, Rich. It looks like this. This one right here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for my channel, that's kind of iconic, and over the years I've wanted to change it, but it just becomes synonymous. And I said I left it. A lot of channels do that, like Kurt with his bottle flips, probably 9 years old, but it's just part of what people are expected to see, so I don't touch it. But with that being said, I might make a slight change, Rich, because the ever popular Brad, who found that awesome silver guitar, as you know, is quite the guitar player himself. And he made me this, Rich. I'm going to play it in full screen. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Now, Rich, come on. Hold on,
Nice.
let me get this out of here. Now, Rich, let me say, first of all, I was super honored that Brad learned the song, practiced the song, sent me the song. I mean, who the heck am I that Brad's going to invest any time? But I was really honored, and I want to incorporate that into my weekly videos. Brad, you don't mind, do you?
I will record you something way better than that.
I only
I didn't.
wish you
There was
showed
no.
your face a little bit because you look anonymous.
There was
and I
no
would have liked
practicing
to-
going on with that. I learned it by ear, and I played it once
Really?
and recorded it. Yeah.
I thought it was really impressive. I mean, can
Oh,
you,
well, thank
Doug,
you.
if you picked up a guitar, because Doug used to play guitar, you think you could play my song just by hearing it by ear?
No.
That's a real skill.
Well, it's only 3 chords, but thank you.
Yeah.
Now, well, listen, I'm going to use, if you want to do a better one, because I'm going to give you a credit and I'm going to run that in my videos. Not that you need my endorsement by any means. I just thought it was really good. And I was super flattered that he did that for me.
I'll record you
cool.
something.
Yeah.
So there we go. So that was the skill of the mountain man himself, the Green Mountain, Mr. Brad.
Yeah, that was part of my little finger therapy that I've been doing, trying to, bring my hands back to where they were. And so I've been playing more guitar because we've mentioned maybe it was the last stream, like I kind of turned guitar into a job where I taught professionally for like a decade. And then I just didn't really touch it anymore, except for making music for the videos. But like these last couple months, I've been doing it as like a form of therapy. So I've played guitar every day for the last month or so. So maybe I'll really record you something because I have like a full recording studio down here. That was just sitting on my deck.
That's why your music sounds so good, because he's got the whole layout. Now you had quite the musical background even before you started doing the YouTube, right? So when you jumped in, you kind of had a leg up, at least on the audio side, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like these are all albums that I've recorded, and I've got.
Let me make you full screen so they could see your album.
Oh yeah. I just have like a wall of albums that I've.
Oh, actual vinyl albums.
Not vinyl, they're CDs, but.
Oh, okay.
I came in the recording studio world. I came way into the digital age.
Okay.
But they're all CDs, but they're all things I've worked on, and I've got dozens and dozens of songs that nobody will ever hear stored in my computer. But I'll record you something.
And do you have a sound room downstairs? Like I'm guessing if you were that into, you have like a soundproof or whatever.
Yeah, I have 3 rooms in the basement down here of my home. This is my control room, where behind my computer here are my speakers and all of my outboard gear. And over here is a window. Maybe I can. No, I probably can't. Over here is a window going into the next room, which is my live room where the drum set and all the guitar amps and stuff is, and all my guitars. And then I have another room where a singer would be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if you have someone in that third room back and the doors were closed and you probably have the pads on the wall and all that, can your wife hear it up? I'm sure she can hear it, but is it really muffled to keep that sound in, or is it noticeable if I was walking around other rooms of your house?
You would hear a drum set or like a really loud electric guitar, but you probably wouldn't hear singing.
Wow. So it does that good of a job.
Yeah. I designed it. I have a bunch of like soundproofing in the walls and hanging on the walls.
Huh. Well, that's pretty amazing. So now I knew Brad had a big background, on the audio side of things, but before I go to the next picture, I'm curious, did you have any background on the video side of things? Because a lot of your channel is capturing the non-treasure hunting finds, the beauty of Vermont, the leaves. I always bust Brad's chops about it, but it really is.
I really appreciated that segment in the event video.
Oh yeah, in my video, I had an homage where I did a close up of a dandelion in focus blowing in the wind with Brad in the background. And I cut it just in time because Brad looked up, he saw what I was doing. He goes, oh, come on. So I tried to cut it before because he knew what I was doing. But that was my homage to the Green Mountain Man.
But no, to answer your question, the first time I spoke into a handheld camera was in a metal detecting video. And it was one of those things where we've talked about this on stream and privately in the past, but like to make videos, like it kind of has to be something that like you're obsessed with and that like you really enjoy doing. It can be it's a hobby all of its own. And for me, like it's as soon as I started metal detecting and bringing along a camera and like doing the editing and stuff, like it's something that like really clicked. I always loved like working with musicians in a recording studio was not always my favorite thing as a musician myself and trying to play producer and all that stuff. But like going into the computer and then editing and like making it sound like as good as possible was always my favorite thing to do. And then when I started editing video, it's exactly the same thing. It's like going through and taking something that's like a jumbled bunch of garbage and just trying to like make it as perfect as possible. I love that part of it. And I fell in love with that. And I, became an obsession and a hobby all of its own. And I started getting into cameras and color grading and, different lenses and stuff. And like I said, it's just like metal detecting where you get obsessed with it. And that happened throughout the course of metal detecting videos.
Yeah. So you learned it all on the fly, because even though the video editing and standalone audio editing is similar, you still have to learn a lot of video editing. I don't want to say necessarily you're going to make the next Star Wars movie, but you need to have a lot of knowledge on the programs so that it looks more crisp, more professional. How long did it take you before you really felt like you had a grasp on your video editing portion to catch up with your audio editing knowledge?
Well, to make a metal detecting video, you don't need to do any of that
No,
stuff.
you don't have
any of the stuff that I do, right?
No.
You could do it all on your phone and it will be just fine. But I didn't switch to like Final Cut, the program that I'm using currently, until maybe like 2021. And that was because I was using iMovie at the time. There were like things that I wanted to do that I just couldn't do, things like different kinds of transitions or different kinds of overlaying and stuff. And I kind of like hit a wall where I knew there was things that like I was seeing other not necessarily metal detecting, but other YouTube channels do, or even movies do, that I was like, I can't do that with what I'm using here. So I kind of upgraded and pay the heavy cost for Final Cut Pro. And then even now there's still things that like I'll see something, I'm like, man, how do you do that? And I like go down the rabbit hole of the forums and stuff. And I'm always trying to make it better. And it's, we've talked about this too, where as a YouTuber, you'll go back and you watch things from 6 months ago and you go, oh God, like that's awful. Like, why did I do it that way? And I'm always trying to improve. I'm always attempting to improve.
I do the same. I can't even watch like my first 3 years of videos because they were recorded in maybe 1080p, because that's what was.
That's what I use.
And I know, well, you do it, but you do it. I don't like the look of my 1080p. I love 4K. And what I love about 4K is, and I film in 4K 60 frames per second, everything I film, so that every second of film, I really have 60 perfect in focus frames that I could use for stills or thumbnails or whatever. Is it a giant hog on my MacBook? You're darn right it is.
Right.
Does my cameras fill up and I'm constantly recharging or offloading? Yes. But like you said, back then, 8, 9, 10 years ago, pulling out your phone and just recording and posting it was fine.
Yeah.
But with any hobby you get into, just like detecting, maybe you start off with a cheaper one. When you realize you like it, you get a better one. Doing YouTube's the same thing. If you get super into it, you want them to be better and better and better. So you're constantly learning new tips, new tricks, new gear, because that's your thing.
For sure.
Here's a picture I have. I'll show you too. Of now the face is silly, but that wasn't the point. But everywhere Brad walks in the field, he's got this camera on a tripod on his belt. He's got this camera over here also on a tripod hanging. He's got his GoPro up here, and everything he films, you have to take everything off, set it all up, get it all ready. And if you're just a treasure hunter, that's a drag. That's taking out a lot of time from your day. So you really have to have that mindset of, I'm here to do both. And if you don't have a love for both things simultaneously, then maybe it doesn't come out at least to the level that Brad wants it to come out.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. And it's ever evolving, because I didn't start using the GoPro until just maybe a couple of years ago. Because I felt like, the camera would always kind of turn on after I found the thing, and I'm missing more than half of the experience, of metal detecting. And it was always too hard to kind of set all of that stuff up to dig an unknown thing, right? Why would you set all that up and then just like dig a pull tab and then pack it all in again? And I would try to do that on like really nice high tones, ones that you'd be like, all right, this is probably going to be something good. But then, still over 50% of the time, it isn't something good. And so the GoPro has allowed me to film every single target throughout the day. And sometimes I'll just leave it on and I'll get, usually like 20 minutes of nothing, but every once in a while you'll catch a really nice candid moment that you wouldn't be able to catch otherwise. So that's really been like my newest big step up, is just having this camera that you can just touch it and it turns on and records. It's added a lot, I think.
I tried to incorporate something like that. I got a GoPro mounted, on a hat. I like on a hat because wherever you look, the camera's recording. So I give it to Rich, and I call it Van Winkle vision is what I call it.
I love it.
Fun.
Because Rich digs
they
the
are
most.
weird. They are weird though, Brad. It turns on its own.
Yeah, it does.
It turns off on its own.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't get it to turn on at all.
I had the 10, and you could say GoPro turn on or GoPro start record, and it would come to life and record.
That's what I do.
But I have the 12 now, and it doesn't have that function on it.
Oh,
so
it doesn't
I have
have that.
to push the button. It'll turn off for you to say GoPro turn off, but you have to push the button for some reason, which has been a drag. But
I think because they were turning on their own.
Probably.
That's what
Yeah, Rich. But Rich is doing a pretty good job. It's always fun when I go home at the end of the night and I plug that GoPro into because I don't know what's going to be on here. I mean, like sometimes I could tell like the on-off must have gotten messed up because the clip will start and Rich is covering the hole and walking.
I've definitely done that.
As he's ready to dig, like so. He's turning. But it's. I think once we get the hang of it, I might see if I might pick up more of them. They are convenient. I don't necessarily love the look of a GoPro for my type of videoing.
Yeah,
but I can understand how just simple it makes everything. At least to capture those moments, and then once you have the thing in your hand, well, then you can zoom in and get really nice, tight, crisp shots.
And I will say too, this it was in the middle of the summer, but I'm editing the video right now. I went gold panning with our friend Scott. We met him at the event. We were chatting about his dirty hoe, and you had the axe. I don't know if you remember that gentleman there, right? So I went gold panning with him in the middle of the summer, and I had my really nice Canon on a tripod in the middle of the stream that I was gold panning in, and I was talking to it and stuff, and I kicked it and it went over into the river and it died midway through the day. And so I finished out the day, we filmed the intros of these videos at the end, right? So I filmed like a lot of the talky parts into my GoPro, and like I'm editing it now. I'm like, man, I'm really trying not to be picky, but like I don't like how this looks.
Yeah, I'm like that with microphones. If one of my microphones dies, and that's the worst. I'd rather have bad video than bad audio.
Oh, really?
Oh, I hate it. Now, did your Canon die, or were you able to fix it later?
So I had to buy a new lens, which is like, less than $200, but because the other one was full of water and like pebbles and stuff. And the camera I took apart and let dry out. And then when I put it back together again, some of the buttons don't work, but it works just enough to get it done.
Okay. All right. Well, at least you saved yourself an extra $600 for another camera.
That's right.
Again, I like Brad does. If I see another YouTuber doing something that I think looks cool, I try to incorporate that in my own little way. And I've been carrying now an actual mirrorless camera on a tripod with me, and I'm using it. And I even have wireless mics hooked up on like the Rode Wireless Pro, which sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, I could set the camera up 50 yards away. It sounds like you're right next to it. And the quality of a digital camera compared to an iPhone, especially if you do this every week like we do, you can notice that difference, that
For sure.
crisp, clear, bokeh background, the quality. I'm really happy with it. I haven't used a lot of the footage yet in the videos, but it'll be
nice.
Be soon.
Yeah, I've become such like a DSLR snob that I'll look at my videos from when I first got this and I had a different lens on, and like I'll be able to tell because like my nose looks like more stretched out because of the aperture on the camera lens. I'm like, man, I'm so glad I switched to the 2.1 millimeter. You know, it's like.
Do you use any of the beauty filters on your camera? Don't lie.
I don't have any on my camera.
You don't have any?
No.
Mine has like a skin softening feature, but
really?
It's built right in while it's downstairs. And it has 3 different levels. Level 1 looks pretty good. Level 2, you start to look weird. And
nice. No, mine's pretty bare bones, unfortunately. I'll have to look into that.
And then I got another one here, which I think it was in my video or Brad's. Brad set up again the camera on the his front facing camera, his down facing to the hole, and he's even got an Amaya in the back who looks like one of Doug's fans. Old Betsy up there, Doug. Can you see her? Eyeballing Brad from the back. Now, one of the things I wanted to cue up, Brad, let me get this ready. And this is just a quick photo to set the stage here. It is this one right here. So when Brad was talking earlier about the sugar shovel, this was the area of the yard we were at. And Rich, right under his knees there, had a good high tone. And Brad simultaneously had a good high tone in the other side. And this was going to be our dig off. They were too far away. I couldn't record both of them. And I didn't swing over Rich's yet, but Brad walked over and swung his XP Deus 2 over Rich's target. And Brad said, "Oh, that's junk."
Actually, I'm pretty sure I was using a Mind Lab that day.
No, I don't think you were. And Brad said on video, "If that turns out to be anything, I'll switch machines." That's what he said, Doug. Rich, you heard him, and Brad even admitted to it.
Yep.
So, my goal was to get Brad a Nokta mini Hoard, Doug.
I have one.
Do you have a mini Hoard?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I was looking for before the show. I don't know where I put it. Yes, there it is. The mini Hoard. There it is.
It's got the up thumb and the down thumb.
Yeah, the thumbs up. That's what I got you, but I don't know where I put it.
You didn't buy me one, did you?
So instead of that,
oh, good.
I got you this new Dr. Otek.
Perfect. When you see brands in all uppercase letters, you know it's going to be good.
Now, I will say, Doug, that I have one of these Dr. Oteks that they sent me about a year ago.
A couple years ago.
Yeah. So I got a second one. I have some strings I pulled, and I can guarantee that Dr. Otek will
pick
hit
up
a baby
that
button at 2 inches. I'll send it to you, Brad.
Thank
that way you never miss another colonial relic again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I've got the mini Hoard. I think I should be good. I'll bring that next time.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have a dig off where the next time we get together with Brad, one of us will use the Otek, one will use the mini Hoard, and we'll see who does better.
Well, give Brad at least 6 months using the Dr. Otek so he can really get familiar with it.
Yeah, that's true. I should.
It's not about the machine; it's how you use it, right?
Exactly.
Right. It's how you use it.
It's
and I think there was I think a certain YouTuber, I forget who it is, did a full tutorial on the Dr. Otek. Yeah, maybe I'll send a link.
You, was it?
I don't remember his name. He was a cool dude, though. He was a cool dude.
Yeah, cool.
I'll send Brad a link to that video. And the other cool thing was, not only is Brad now going to switch brands, but during the hunt, I captured a very rare shot, Doug, almost like a speckled unicorn of the Green Mountain himself using the Paron
flashlight.
The Paron 2. Now, Brad always busts my chops about the Paron 2. He's very much against the Paron 2, but
It's not true.
the proof was in the pudding. When Brad was using it, I saw his eyes light up like saucers.
Yeah, because it got me right in the eye.
Yeah, I did. I just shot him.
Burn out his retina.
Yeah, he's still, come to think of it, he got sick right after that.
It's true. One of my pupils is way bigger than the other one.
But there's Brad's using the Paron 2. And maybe, Brad, if you want one, I can get you a discount code.
Really?
Who
is that made by? Is that made by Dr. Otek also?
No, that's not Dr. Otek. Olight. Olight.
Okay.
Now listen though, but all joking aside,
I use Through Night.
Oh, that's a good one too. I have a Through Night. So you do have, okay. How many lumens is your Through Night?
How many is your Paron?
3,000 lumens.
Well, mine is 3,500.
Really?
No, I don't know. It doesn't say.
It's not. Okay. Mine was so nice that now Rich has one. Lynn got Rich one for Christmas last year, and it is an extraordinary flash. Now, listen, is it super duper expensive and unnecessary? Yeah, but it is really good, and it could light up a whole field. If we were hunting till dark and we'd had to walk back to the car, it really lights up the whole field where your cell phone can barely see your shoes.
Well,
I can say that I've used other small, just a regular flashlight on coppers before, and it doesn't have the same effect. I don't know if the light is at a different angle coming out of the lens, but what I really like about it, and I mean, not only do you have all the different, and then I don't want this to be a flashlight commercial, but I'm just saying, not only does it have a different,
they don't make it anymore.
They don't make it anymore.
Yeah.
It has the different lumens, but
Yeah.
you can't see it in the picture of Brad Green Mountain Martin here holding the Paron 2, but it's got a 90-degree angle. So what we do is I stick it on the shovel, and then it magnifies up and then goes like that and shines. So for someone who's got to hold the coin with one hand, hold the camera with the other, I don't have enough hands to also hold a flashlight. That was half the reason why I bought it.
Well, let me give you some of the features of the Through Night.
Yeah, let me get the Through Night features. Let me get my
go back to that photo right there. Okay, so you see the brim of my hat. See how tattered it is.
Yes.
A lot of people accuse me of buying hats like that, and that's not the case. I just have like 10. This is a new one. See how it's not tattered?
It's from clipping the flashlight on, right?
From the feature of the Through Night, it clips right onto my hat, and I can go out to the compost pile
look at
the
that.
nighttime, and no problems.
So what you're claiming now, let me get this straight, is that this tear that goes from one side of the brim
it starts that way
over to the other side.
It does start that way.
From you clipping the flashlight in the center?
It does start that way. Yep.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
It's like when you get a hole in your jeans, just a small one.
That's right.
But
it just spreads.
A month later, it's a much bigger one.
Okay. All right, I'll say that. I also assumed that Brad bought his hats like that because that is like a cool hip thing to do. He's going to try to prove me wrong.
It would be, however, hard to do side light on a coin if it's clipped to your hat. Yeah,
you'd have to. Yeah, that would be difficult. I'm trying to convince him to go over. And I don't know. Did you notice, Rich, if Excalibur Shovels is in the chat tonight?
I haven't noticed, but
I wasn't looking. I'm going to see if he's in. Hold on, Brad's got another.
So
hat.
this is the hat in question. Okay, you can see
one.
it's right towards the end of its life. We have this going on, right? It's actually torn here as well.
Oh, that. Okay. How do you tear a hat there?
I don't know. We're missing some fabric up top here, but when that one is at the end of its life, we have a few more to go here. And look, they're all brand new.
Now, are those, do you sell them or do you just buy your own hats? Why do you buy so many all at once?
Well, to be truthful,
cheaper by the dozen.
To be truthful, they're like $5 at Walmart.
Oh, okay.
And I bought like 2 at a go, and they like didn't fit quite right. And so I just kind of put them in my closet, and I went back like a few months later and bought 2 more, and those didn't really fit quite right. And so I've got a stack of them that don't fit quite right. Well, because they like there's a changeover and there's different brands and stuff. And
Now,
sometimes
I
they fit
completely
different.
agree. Like the hat that I wear, now, granted, I do sell some too, but I have 10 of them because they start to get not really ripped. I don't know how you rip a hat like that, but they start to get like sweat stains and stuff.
Oh, for
You
sure.
put them in the washer.
I wash mine by hand.
Nah,
Every
you
time.
put them in the washer.
No,
They'll
I
get
don't.
chewed up like that real good.
I wash them by hand.
This one smells like DEET and sweat, and
Yeah.
it's this is like my formal occasion hat, and then that one's my metal detecting hat.
Okay. Now, how come you don't promote the Green Mountain Show on your hat with like a little patch or something?
I should.
That?
I don't know.
Okay. You should.
It's I know some guys like wearing their own T-shirts, but that's not really my style.
This is a sweatshirt. It's the sweatshirt.
I grew up in like punk rock scene. You don't really wear your own band's T-shirt,
Oh, you don't? I'm not supposed to do it?
No.
Brad, when I tell you, honest to God, I'd say probably 90% of the shirts that I own, of all my shirts, are my own shirt. T-shirts.
I do have some of my own.
Yeah,
but I usually just wear them like at the gym and stuff.
I wear them all the time because they're warm, and that's what fits me. I don't know.
I'm not blaming you for it.
And I think I have a Dog Tag Doug shirt somewhere. Doug, you're not wearing your Dog Tag Doug shirt, are you?
I never do.
You never wear your Dog Tag.
I feel like Brad. It's self.
It's self-promoting.
Self-promoting, and you know me, I'm very humble.
So if you had like the world's greatest lemonade stand, would you not want to tell anyone about it?
Oh. I don't think I have the greatest shirt. I just think it's cool. I just think everyone else should have one.
All right. Oh, they said Casey is here from Excalibur Shovels. I asked if Casey was here.
Casey.
Oh, look, Doug's got the Excalibur Shovels hat on.
Right.
Casey, I asked if you were here. I don't have your shovel with me, but besides the back and forth that Brad and I have about the flashlight, we also share a back and forth about our digging apparatus. Now, I'm a big fan of the Excalibur shovels, a nice sturdy metal shovel with the intimidating, jagged edge. Not that I dig through concrete by any means, but I know I can get through any ground, any root, anything. And then of all the people that I know, Brad, who hunts in the thick wilderness, who probably runs into more roots and tree trunks than anyone I know, uses like a $5 round blunt edge shovel. And I think he only uses it because he has a love for a hickory shaft. Is that what it is, Brad?
Well, it's definitely part of it. Are we really going to go down this rabbit hole?
I'd like to talk about it because maybe Casey can make an Excalibur blade on a hickory handled shaft and have the best of both worlds. But let me hear your reasoning for this.
Okay. Well, I've never had the pleasure of using an Excalibur shovel, so maybe that would change my mind.
That's true.
But I have used a metal handled, I believe it was a Lesh, and I owned it, and I paid like over $100 for it, right? And it was
the long Lesh,
the longer one, and it had the T handle on top, and it had the classic Lesh like hand digger size spade on it. And I just didn't really enjoy it because it was so heavy, and it was like after the month of October, it was just so cold, and the spade was so small. I had to go around the hole like 20 times to get a plug out. And it's my opinion that the serrations don't actually do anything, because that's not really how a saw works, right? Because saw's teeth are like this,
like more jagged.
Well, they're offset to cut through wood, right? That's how they work. Is that if you have teeth that are straight, it doesn't really cut. You have to have them offset and sharp, and it doesn't really make sense to me. A sharp shovel, though, like if you sharpen it, that will certainly help, which I do to my shovels. Every couple months or whatever, I'll put it on a bench grinder and I'll actually sharpen up the edge of it. But the wooden shaft, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say real quick, if it makes sense, I cut the roots on the pullback with the shovel because it catches them, the notches. And
but the pullback, the blade, you're going against the blade. How that does something for you, Rich?
No, the notches are they're not forward, they're backward.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. They are.
I mean, look, we hunt mostly grass yards.
Okay,
Am I
right.
really utilizing the jag? Probably not. I just like to know they're there.
It would be very easy for me to just go grab a hand digger that's serrated and just test it on my workbench right now. Should I do that? You think it'll cut in?
I want to say
With
that it
some
would,
effort.
only because I've ripped my jeans, my jacket, and cut my
Okay.
finger. So it's
Okay.
gotta have something.
Maybe. But the point in question is the wooden shaft, right?
Yeah. What's up with the
The
wooden
wooden
shaft?
handle. Aside from being lighter and not as cold, and being way cooler, to have like a natural hickory wood shaft, I see these guys with these metal shafted shovels, and they're all bent. Yours is bent, right, Rich?
Not our new one.
No, you have a new one. Okay.
He broke his last
His
two.
were broken,
Yeah,
not
he
bent.
broke them in half.
It was always the shovel head that snapped. It was never the shaft.
Gotcha. I've seen many though that are bent. Like
I've seen those too.
They're all bent backwards.
And I don't know why people still carry them around.
Right. But the great part about a wooden shaft is they will bend, but then they'll go back to the way they were. They won't break. They won't stay bent. They won't break the spade. They're bouncy, and that's why they've had wooden handles on shovels for the last 6,000 years.
Well, people also died by 22 6,000 years ago. There is such a thing as improvements over time.
Well, that's actually a misnomer because of the high infant mortality rate. The average number or the average death age is skewed lower.
Oh, okay. All right. Whatever it is. So now listen,
We sure
granted,
do run the gamut of subjects here, don't we?
listen, it's Brad, and we're, how many times do you want to just hear him talk about, cool things he found? Now I'm going to give it to him that a wooden handle won't bend like a metal one could bend. But I have to think, Brad, that when you're in the woods and you dig that shovel down and you're under a root, and if you wrench back, I would think that wooden handle would snap faster than a metal handle would break. But that's not the case, you're telling me.
If you put a steel bar in a testing apparatus and then you put a wooden shaft in the same testing apparatus, I'm sure the wooden one would break first. Is that what your claim is?
That's basically what I was trying to get at.
But if you're using a shovel, the way a shovel is designed to be used.
Oh, so I'm using it incorrectly.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Casey doesn't include instructions on how to shovel, so I just assume you put it in and then lift it out.
That's all you do.
You know what we're doing.
There's also the tempering of metal should be done correctly.
He does do a good job.
If it's not done correctly, it's going to be weak. It's going to snap. It's going to bend or break.
Well, my opinion is that not that everybody should use wooden handle shovels. It's just what I prefer using.
Oh, I know you do.
Okay.
And there's a whole aisle dedicated to Brad at the Dollar General.
That's true.
Good steel, like swords and knives. They make them, or they should be made so that if they bend, they will bend right back to being straight.
Sure. No, I've watched like Master Smith, Knife Smith tests and stuff, right? And they have to bend them to like 90 degrees and then bring them back, and they won't break, right? No, I get it. But I feel like a handle to a tool shouldn't be metal.
Okay. Yeah. So the handle,
like a hammer's handle is very rarely. I know they make aluminum ones now for like the high end ones, but like there's like a percussive element that is just not there in a wooden one. Like if you hit a rock, you won't.
I agree. There's like a little bit of a backlash, and that the wood does disperse the vibration and stuff better. Go. I'll give you that. I don't know. I feel like the metal one is more apropos for whatever environment I bring it to.
That's fair. I'm not trying to convert you.
If you are hunting in like a lake bed, and I know you've hunted in the water before, will your hickory shaft like absorb water, or is there some sort of shellac on it?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe I should.
Oh, you don't shellac it then. So maybe it does
don't.
absorb water.
Maybe it does.
All right, we're not sure. All right, I'm not sure where we're going with
I charred mine and then oiled it with what kind of oil did I use?
Linseed oil.
Linseed oil.
Yeah, like a linseed oil. Like a linseed oil. All right. Well, listen, I mean, I know Brad's happy with it. I always bust his chops. And over in 10 years, how many different hickory handles have you gone through? I think only like one or two. Be honest.
I will be honest. I have bought 2 wooden ones, and I have bought 2 fiberglass ones.
Oh, fiberglass.
Just because, I only need one, but oftentimes I have guests or my friends or whatever. And so I bought a bunch, and or I forgot one time and I stopped and bought one. I broke one wooden one, but it wasn't the handle that broke. It was the spade cracked. And then
that's
it kind of like
riches. Yeah. The spade,
but I've never broken the wooden shaft, partly because they're like this long, the little ones that I use. It'd be pretty hard to break that, but
yeah, you use smaller ones that you do most of your digging from your knees. And that's what Rich likes to do, from his knees, where like me, Doug, and Charlie and Lynn, we kind of stand up for a lot of the digging.
Well, yeah. And, I'll say as I get older, I will probably not want to get down on my knees so much. And like, I'm at kind of at that point right now, because there's a part of me that's like thinking maybe I have like a disc issue with my issues that I've had the last few months. So like, I think I might even like ditch the backpack and like start wearing more stuff on my belt. Yeah. And like try to like put less weight on my shoulders, and I'll probably try to not get down on my knees so much. So maybe a longer shovel will be in my springtime future. We'll see, but it's definitely going to have a wooden handle.
Definitely have a wooden. Now, the only problem with the wooden handle is how are you going to mount the Paron 2 to the shaft? It's magnetic.
That's true. That might be what converts me. Is I need like a solid steel shovel.
Glue. I know you have a super glue collection at home. If you super glue like a metal plate to the hickory handle,
I like that idea. Yeah,
I mean,
or maybe just like a bolt through or something.
Just a little bolt. Now, I was debating on whether I was going to play this, Brad, and it's not the airplane joke. There's an airplane joke. I'm not going to play that. I don't know if the audience can handle the airplane joke. But this was a funny little thing that happened by accident. And it didn't make it my video because I thought it was maybe a little over the top ridiculous. But that's what the live stream was all about. If I show you the picture, Brad, you might instantly remember. Does this ring a bell, Brad?
Yeah, I have that too. I was going to post it in my video, but I was like, I don't know if there's enough context
it's
to make it make sense.
But I thought I'm going to play it. It's about maybe 45 seconds long, but I thought maybe you could explain to people the basics of what it is they're about to see so that it kind of makes sense.
Okay. So I don't remember any of the names. Can you remind me of the names that are? I
remember the only name
Jack,
that kept coming up was Jack.
Okay. So this gentleman, can you put that picture up again?
Sure.
So this gentleman in the gray shirt, I don't remember his name, but I think he tells us at one point in the clip. But he wants us to say, "Hey Jack, who is his son?"
This was
right.
funny.
He wants the YouTube people here to say hi to his son Jack, and we all start counting 1, 2, 3. Hey Jack, but Jason for some reason thinks. And I'm still not actually quite sure what Jason.
Let me help you.
Okay.
Let me help you a little bit here. What happened, Doug, was that gentleman in the gray shirt. He approached us and asked, apparently, would you guys give out a shout out to my son Jack? But he came up to Brad and Rich while I was off to the side talking to someone. So Brad and Rich heard him say, "I'd love for you guys to give a shout out to my son Jack." I didn't hear that part. I only heard, would you mind? Like, I thought in my mind that the guy had like his own YouTube channel and he wanted us to do like a thing like, "Hey guys, look who I'm here with." I thought it was one of those things, Doug, which we get a lot. So when we line up for this little thing, Rich and Brad know what's going on. They know we're supposed to say.
I think that's why I look so weird in that photo, because it's been like 5 minutes of.
It went on for a long time.
I'm going to play it because it's kind of funny, but just understand that I'm not a total idiot. I thought something else was happening, and then we just kind of had some fun with it. Are you ready, Doug? I'm going to turn up the volume here a little bit, and I'll play it in full screen. Are you ready, Doug?
I'm watching.
Are we rolling? Hey, Jack. What's up?
Oh, you were saying hey, Jack. I thought you were Jack. Hey, Jack. And he was saying, hey, Jack. Who are you with? I messed that all up. So let's go.
You want me to start a new one?
No, run it.
I want the whole thing?
This is what a video is.
Hey, Jack?
Yeah, you're saying hey, Jack.
But that's Jack. Brandon.
I'm just saying. Just do it. Just do it.
Just did.
We're acting.
Hey, Jack.
What's up?
You're not Jack. He's Jack.
He's not Jack.
Where's Jackson say, hey. Oh, hey, Jack. Doug, or
Jack,
look
at
Mr. Off, let's go.
What a hot mess this was, Doug.
I just wanted him to say hi, Jack, with that guy's son, who's not there. It's going to be a video for him.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Jack. Hey, Jack. I mean, dude, how many times do I got to say hey, Jack?
I'm Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Billy, what's up? It's your character name.
That's good. Excellent. Hey, do you want to tell your airplane joke?
All right. All right, Doug.
What were you getting paid by the hour?
So now listen, when all this was done, and then I heard what the gentleman really wanted, us to just say hello to his son, his little small son, I felt terrible. I thought in my strange mind that we were doing a thing for his YouTube channel, and it was nothing like that whatsoever. So when Brad told me like 2 days later, he sent me that clip, and he's like, yeah, this is what the guy gave to his kid. I was like, oh man, give me the guy's address. I'll mail him a hat. I'll mail him a Dr. Otek metal detector. But I thought it was really funny. Maybe you had to be there in the moment, but it was really funny.
I did. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but that day I did laugh the hardest I've laughed in a while.
There was a lot of funny things, and listen, not that any of it was like rated R dirty, but a lot of jokes that you have to be there. You know, there was an airplane one that maybe we'll play at a future date, only because it might touch on a sensitive subject. But
accidentally,
accidentally,
yeah.
I've never seen Brad almost fall over with laughter. And that's one of the best things is just, you know how it is, Doug, cracking your buddies up, watching them double over and belly laughs, you know.
I see it every week.
Yeah. I mean, come on, what's better than that? I don't care what you find. I want to see Doug and Charlie, you know, laughter and belly roll to the ground.
Super chat.
Oh, super chat, mainly dirt fishing.
Yeah. You've missed a few of them.
Did I apologize?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go back and catch him at the end. I can't really follow the chat too much tonight, so I do apologize. I know Rich looks a lot, but thank you. And what time is it? 8:43. We won't keep Brad on forever because I know he's got to wake up tomorrow and I guess shovel more snow.
I already told my wife.
Till two
yeah, I was going to say, I already told my wife I will not stay up until 3 in the morning.
I know, Brad. The one time we were up till 3 and the day when Steph Diggs was on my show, Brad, after the show ended, Steph and I were on until 6:30 in the morning. Just me and Steph. Lynn hung till like midnight. And then me and Steph just hung, just two of us offline till 6:30 in the morning. And then my alarm went off at 7:30.
Brad, depending on who the guest is, after the show, I get out of there pretty quick.
Yeah, good idea. Good call.
I'm trying to. Well, listen, I text Brad a lot, so if I wanted to just converse, I'll do it tomorrow. At a time. So Brad, why don't you update everyone? We said 10 inches of snow on the ground, which is pretty normal in the mountains of Vermont. What's going to happen with Brad and for the next few months on the Green Mountain Metal Detecting channel if you can't get out and metal detect? Have you come up with a formulated plan?
I have not. I have a plan until almost the end of January. I've got kind of videos in the pipeline. I have like a top 10 for the year, which I always do, around the first of the year. And we're supposed to get some rain next week. So I think I'll probably be able to get out locally at least a few more times till we get some like hard winter. Rain going to melt the snow, I hope. But I have been so lucky these last 2 months, going through this ordeal. Like people have reached out to me, like you guys and like other friends in the hobby, but also people I don't know, being like, come metal detect with us, like anytime, just say the word and we'll give you a spot to go with us. And so I've got some places I can go that doesn't have snow as soon as I'm like well enough to do a nice long drive, which I don't think I'm quite there yet, but hopefully pretty soon. I had an invitation yesterday to go up like 2.5 hours north in Vermont to an awesome spot, which these two guys like found, and they dug like a couple coins or whatever. And then they just like left. They were going to save it for me. I didn't make it up yesterday cause I had a doctor's appointment, but like, it's on the table. So I have lots of places to go. I just haven't gone there yet. And, I think I'll be able to make it until spring, with metal detecting content. And like, I have some plans of like some kind of more historical, like my little video after the Anna pendant there, like kind of genealogical type videos. I have some places that I can just walk to, and I don't actually have to do any metal detecting, that I can kind of talk about, kind of interesting history. So I have some plans for those. And during my little illness here, I've like kind of been rewatching. I watched my little DeGrau series and I watched my Grave of Gold series, and I kind of got like the fire burning a little bit to kind of do another little mini series.
Are you thinking about doing that?
Yeah. And so today I actually spent like a good 3 or 4 hours, like going down the rabbit hole of another little local treasure story, going through old newspapers and stuff. And I think Eddie and I are it's going to be
enjoyed now, Brad, if I can make one small plea.
Okay.
Is if you do another fictional metal detecting or treasure hunting series, I would love to have a brief cameo in such thing. That way I can get my SAG card done.
Well, I think the next one is going to be nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Yeah. But, we'll see. Maybe you can still get a cameo.
Because then you
have to find the treasure at the end, right?
Rely on finding something or,
right. Well, Eddie and I, we're in very, very early, like literally today was the day we started talking about it. But we have some angles, because that's the first thing we said is like, we picked out a treasure that's pretty well known in the area. And we're like, well, how are we going to end this thing? Right. Like, we don't want to hide another treasure because we did that. We don't want to do a fictional story because we did that. So like, how are we going to have like a satisfying ending to a treasure hunting show without just never ending, like some other shows that are on television. Right. And we have some ideas that we have to kind of work through and kind of, iron out the wrinkles. But I think that we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do.
I'm excited to see it. You never let me down. The amount of work and thought and just love and passion that goes into them, I really appreciate it. No, I've never seen anyone do anything like it. I'm sure the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get lucky and I get a little bit of insider news and it kind of gets me excited for what's coming out. So I'll press Brad down the road and see where he's going with it all.
Are you going to do any cool crafting videos this winter?
Probably. I kind of put myself in this schedule of the winter time of doing like a metal detecting, treasure hunting type content video 1 week, and then on the off week, every other week, and then on the off week I'll do like a home vlog thing where it's just like there's anything goes, going on little things with my family or doing things with my friends or just like workshop stuff down here, leather craft, stuff like that. So I have a vlog next week. I have nothing filmed, so I'll probably spend a good amount of time down here building something, or I have no idea yet. I'm very much flying by the seat of my pants right now. I have like metal detecting content until the end of January, but nothing else. So we'll see.
Well, at least that's the bulk of what you're trying to do.
Right.
The fillers on your off weeks. Heck, man. I always like the vlogs. You do the biannual live streams.
Right.
Biannual is twice a year, right, Rich?
It's both, actually. I looked this up.
Oh, it is. It's both.
Yeah.
So biannual could be twice a year or every other year.
Yep.
Oh, that's confusing. Why would they give it its own name?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I would call it like semi-annual. I don't even know. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people like they save those kind of vloggy videos for like a second channel. Like they'll make a whole nother channel for that type of content.
Some people do.
But like I don't really care that much about what any negative impacts it might have on like the channel itself. I'll just, as long as I'm posting something every single week and it's me and it's somewhat related, I just kind of keep it all in the same place. And there's definitely less people that view the vlogs, but I totally get that people want to see metal detecting. But
it keeps the channel name relevant. And that way, you don't want to, if you can help it, you don't want to take, a month, 2 months off. If you can put something out, even if it's not what everyone necessarily is expecting to see, I still think it's good for your channel analytics.
Yeah,
and
I think
a lot
so.
of people tune in for you, the person, the personality, the man, the myth, the mountainous legend, Brad Martin.
Yeah, we'll see how many mountains are in my near future, but definitely some metal detecting.
Well, that's good. I mean, I know you have no shortage of gently blowing dandelions. You could work for Nat Geo with all the stuff that Brad does.
Well, yeah, you got to show that stuff.
Listen, Doug, I'm going to try to wrap it up in maybe another 10 minutes or so. Do you have anything, or Charlie, Lynn, Rich, questions for Brad or anyone in the chat? I'm going to try to keep an eye out. This might be your one last chance until he does his live stream. And he just did it like 2 weeks ago. You do them twice a year, right, Brad? Spring and fall?
Yeah, I usually do it around the 1st of November and the 1st of May.
Kind of when I switch for your live stream.
I don't. Maybe you could make me up a name as good as Quarter After.
You gotta have a name. Yeah, I thought the Quarter After show. It's funny. Starting the show at 7:15 is really inconvenient for me because that's when we eat dinner.
Okay.
I would love to move it to like 8 o'clock, but the whole reason I put the show is because I came up with the name first.
Of course.
And the show has to follow.
Of course.
So I'm now stuck where it's got to be quarter after 7 because
he did too. He told me about the name Quarter After a good 6 or 8 months before we started doing this.
Yes. I think the name of something oftentimes is more important than the
I totally agree.
Stuff. Yeah, the name is so important.
It's like a tagline in a song, right, Brad? You get the tagline down and you build the song around that.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I kind of go through this with like my videos, is I'll spend literal hours and days on putting this video together, and now I need to kind of like gift wrap it with a thumbnail and a title, and it's like the most important part.
It's agony,
and that's what gets people to click it. Is the thumbnail and the title. It's not even what's in the video. It's getting them to click
agony. Yeah, it's tough because as a YouTuber, like you want it to be engaging looking, you want it to be exciting, or you want it to convey an emotion, but walking the fine line of you don't want it to be clickbait. So you got to like ride that edge where it's got to be, you got to fulfill the expectations of the title and thumbnail, but you want it to be as engaging as possible.
And you definitely want it to be clickbait, but you don't want it to be.
You want to deliver though.
Misleading clickbait.
Right. Yeah, you want to deliver. I can't have a picture of Doug in a bikini in the thumbnail, and then no Doug in the bikini in the video.
That's misleading.
Right, that's misleading.
Very disappointing.
I stumble upon YouTube videos of people detecting. They find all this great stuff all the time, but nobody watches it. It's got no views, but they find amazing stuff, and it just makes you wonder.
I wish I had an answer for why that is and why some of my videos get a bunch of views and some people's don't. And I think it's just like you and I were just talking about this, Jason. Like you had that video where you were finding that you guys weren't even finding anything, right? The guy was just showing you the stuff.
Well, I don't want to say we're finding anything.
No, I mean like the bulk of the video was him showing you things that he found. Yeah. Right. And it got crazy views, right? Like no exclamation.
800,000 now.
How much, Lynn?
I think about 800,000.
800 in like 2 months. Yeah, I mean it was.
Yeah.
And then the funny part is I was, if I didn't know the guy personally and know that he was counting on me putting a video out, I might have put that off to the side and maybe revisit it and never put it out.
Right.
Because it wasn't my cup of tea. And I only put it out for I'm doing another one like that now where.
Of course you are. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, not like that, but I mean, a video that's not really our normal thing. So I'm struggling putting it together. But when it comes out, it might do really well, but it's just not my normal cup of tea.
Right. And yeah, I've told this story a million times, but like I went all the way to France and I had the time of my life. And I made with Chill Bill, and I made 4 videos there, and they're like they weren't viewed very much. I mean, the people who watched it enjoyed them, and I certainly enjoyed my time. But like, it was a lot of effort going all the way to France and making these videos. And then like a couple months later, I went down to the local swimming hole, and for some reason that video got like 500,000 views in the first week, and then like over 1 million a couple months later. And it's like, it took me 3 hours to film it down the road. It's like, it's so unpredictable.
It makes you wonder sometimes, like, man, Brad will be like, man, I spent 23 hours this week editing this video and no one watched it. And then I run out to the swimming hole, I jump in my skivvies and jump out, and I got 3 million people.
Yeah. No,
yourself.
Yeah, the whole point of this line of thinking, is like, to go back to what Rich said, is people find awesome stuff in their metal detecting videos all the time. And it's like, it's a crapshoot whether a bunch of people see it or they don't. And unfortunately, the thumbnail and the title like have a pretty big role in that. I haven't cracked the code yet, and I know maybe some people have, but it's like, it's very random.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes like if I'm editing something, I agonize over the thumbnail and the title, and I don't really know what I'm going to do for the thumbnail. But once in a while, when I do make it, I'll look at it and I try to look at it objectively. And some weeks I'll be like, nah, it's all right. It's good enough. I'm burning out. And then some weeks I'll look at it and be like, wow, that looks good. It's going to do well. And sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But
it seems like we always have to do the most thumbnails photos when it's 105 degrees out, and we're sweating.
The guys are really good to me,
and
Brad,
he's like, lay down in the hay.
I gotta call him, and I don't do it as much now because if I tell Doug, all right, look, Doug, I need you to lay down on the ground, spread your legs open, and try to hold on to this eagle in your hand. Brad's he starts grumbling. So I try not to make them like lay on the ground as much anymore.
Yeah. Or have to get in a wheelbarrow.
Oh yeah, one time I had Charlie bring a wheelbarrow. We put Doug in the wheelbarrow.
I think I remember this one.
Yeah, we wanted it to look like we were all like walking out to the field, but Doug didn't feel like it. So Lynn's like, in the thumbnail, picking up the wheel like she was going to push him out there. And I thought it was really funny. The video didn't do well at all. Sometimes what you think's going to be really funny or work just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. You need the right hook.
Yeah. Just today, I had like my nose like 3 inches from my computer screen, rotating a little starburst around the coil in my thumbnail for the video tomorrow. And I was just like kind of tweaking it and changing the colors. And my wife kind of comes up behind me. She's like, "Oh, you're still working on that, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's got to be just right. You'll have to wait and see."
And they don't get it. I call my wife in. I'm colorblind, as I tell everybody every week. So when I do my thumbnail, I call my wife in. I'll be like, "Does this look right?" Like a lot of my pictures, like even this one, Brad. I'll show you an example. This right here. Now you're not even going to believe it, Brad. Or maybe you would. This picture right here that I showed. Now you remember you have the same picture, Brad. I think you put it up on something or other.
Probably.
But this is not the picture that I took. This is actually about maybe 5 seconds of two different stills that then I Photoshop together. And the problem is the way the sun moves through the sky, the grass looks a different shade, a different color when I Photoshop them together, and I can't physically see it.
I see.
Whenever I Photoshop thumbnails and pictures, I have to call my wife in and say, "Hun, does this shadowy shade match this one?" And she's like, a little bit, not so much. And I have her in my room for like 45 minutes and she's pulling her hair out because who cares besides me, and she's right. But each week becomes your baby because you tried to create this thing out of nothingness and you take it really serious, even if no one else would even notice or care.
I would love if I could just have a black thumbnail and it titled like Video 73, still, but it's just, you're trying to get the people that don't know who you are to click on your video.
That's the whole thing. Yeah. The people that know who you are, they're already going to watch or not watch.
Right.
It's the people that don't know who you are that you're trying to capture their imagination and not have the same thumbnail as you did previously. And that gets really hard when you have 400 and 500 videos in your library where I've made Doug lay on every possible object, east of the Mississippi. you run out of things,
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a very kind of interesting learning experience too with these last 2 months for me. I posted 5 videos that were reruns, right? So they were videos that I published years ago. And for the most part, they all got more views than they did the first time I posted them. Now, I don't know if that's
told everybody that they were
yeah,
rerun.
right. And I don't know if that's because I slightly changed the thumbnails for each one, or I slightly changed the titles for each one, or I just have more viewers now, more subscribers, right? Or if people felt sorry for me, so they just like let the video play to like help me out. But it's got me like, it's a little bit of security now. Like now, if I fall sick for another month, like I can just kind of fall back on showing reruns, and it kind of works out just fine.
Did you get a lot of comments in the rerun videos where people didn't realize it was a rerun? Maybe they didn't watch your updates and they just thought that was a new video from Green Mountain, and they're like, "Oh, great find on the nickel, Brad," or whatever.
Probably. There were a lot of comments that were like, no, it's a rerun, but it's the first time for me.
I saw those comments, and those are nice. Nice to see.
Yeah, because, and I'm guilty of this too. When I find like a new channel, I'll very rarely go back and watch their old videos.
Sure.
Like sometimes I will, but it's always just kind of like waiting for the new ones, because you would assume that those would be like, up
fresh.
to date and fresh. But it's kind of nice. I wish YouTube had like a better way of being able to kind of share old videos for new viewers, because they don't really accept deleting and re-uploading. Like Facebook has, you can post that's what I do on Facebook. I post one of my cataloged videos every single day, and they get new viewers every single day. I'm sure some people have seen them before, but don't watch them.
Yeah. No, I do see it. You do a video clip every day on your Facebook, a reel every day, and a photo, all 3 every day.
I try to. Yeah, I try to. I'm running out of photos because I haven't gone metal detecting in a few weeks, because I would just take like, photos of the finds throughout the day. But I'm running out. But yeah, like the videos are just always reruns except for Friday. And then the reels, I'll make 3 or 4 of them a week, but the rest of them are all reruns from previously posted or whatever. But yeah, it's always kind of reaching new people, and or people they forget, if they're following 20, 30, 50 metal detecting people, like they're not going to remember everything I've found.
Yeah, no, it's tricky. And, I know when we go out, I try to purposely not have me or the guys say like, what the date is, what month it is, what holiday just fell 2 days ago, because I don't know when I'm going to play that. So I try to keep that out for that reason. So if we record a video tomorrow and maybe I don't play it for 8 months,
right?
Imagine my video comes out tomorrow and Doug's saying like, "Oh man, 4th of July weekend yesterday, I was sweating my," then it's like, it doesn't look right. So I try not to do anything that would distinguish the time of year or anything like that.
I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that might be. I feel like that won't matter as much. I think maybe you're putting too much.
Again, maybe I overthink it.
Because like
I think Rich had a Santa hat on one time, and the video was out after Christmas or something.
It was.
Yeah.
Or what always gets me, Charlie, is in a video we'll be like, "Happy birthday to Doug or Charlie," and then people will comment, "Wait, Doug's birthday was 3 months ago."
Yeah.
I mean, I like 2 weeks ago, I posted a video with full leaves on the trees, and people were excited that it was like a new video, but it's like, there's no leaves on the trees. Most places on the East Coast right now. So I don't think people really care. They just excited to see new stuff.
Yeah. I guess I might overlook things too much. I have to loosen up my criteria a little bit. But you're right. And I've been watching some of the reruns. I watched the one a couple days ago with Eddie and Chris.
Yeah.
I saw that one again. It's nice to go down the road. And you're not re-editing any of the clips, right? You're just adjusting the thumbnail and putting it back up.
Yeah, I went through my videos and I sorted them by least viewed, and I kind of skipped by like event videos, because those always don't do well. I skipped the event videos. I skipped. There's some other ones that they're mostly event videos, I think, that were my least viewed, but then those 5 were at the bottom of the pile for some reason. And I just posted them again, because it would mean that most people hadn't seen them. And
did you take the original one down from your channel, or is it now
Yeah.
up there twice?
I unlisted it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Brad,
I always thought about if I had to ever reuse a video, YouTube is smart where they would see that it's reused content if you posted it exactly as it aired. What I do, and maybe you do this in your library, Brad, is I have every clip that I've ever taken, unedited as well as the edited, because I edit every clip and then re-render it. So I have two. So that if I wanted to air something that we did 8 months ago, I have the edited clip or I have the full raw clip, so I could re-edit it maybe differently if my style changed or whatever.
Right.
So it would make it seem new to YouTube's eyes because it's not exactly the same. Do you do that, or do you just save your clips raw only and only edit them in one long timeline?
So no. So the way I do it, I'll double back though. I don't think YouTube cares about that from my experience over the last couple months, like, cause I just uploaded the same videos and they did better than the original ones did. So yeah, I don't think YouTube cares about re-uploaded content for some reason.
Oh, maybe not then.
So, but what I do as far as my editing workflow goes is my videos are basically like finds based, right? I know that in your videos, there's a lot of banter, like in between things that you're finding, but I don't really have a ton of that. So basically I try to format my videos as 3 finds and then a B-roll break, and then 3 finds and then a B-roll break and then 3 more finds. So like 9 finds ideally.
That's a lot of finds for one guy too, let me say.
A lot of times they're not incredible things. They're just things for me to talk about, right? And sometimes I don't get 9 things. Sometimes I'll get 8 or 7, and then I'll have to fill those holes for time. So they're kind of all evenly timed out. So like 5 or 6 minutes for each portion, right? So the way I edit it in my software is I'll have each find as an edited clip, going back and forth between my 3 cameras and having stills from the thing that I found, or historical information and everything. And then I have each one of those finds as its own clip I can click on and drag around. Because here's another kind of dirty secret about my videos is a lot of times they're not in chronological order. Like if I find 3 really good things, I'll space them out to those 3 different sections of the video. So I don't have all the good stuff at the beginning or at the end, right? So I'll edit each find as its own little clip I can grab onto and move around. And I'll do that to all 9 things. But I still have all the raw footage. So if I'm going to go like make a short, I can just go into my edited full video and I can just like take one of those short little clips and then I just edit it down even more to be a minute long. And then I have a short, right? So, but I still have all my raw footage. So if I wanted to go in and just totally re-edit everything, I could.
Yeah, the raw footage is important, I think, especially with the library that you've, created over the years.
Right.
You don't want everything edited because you might need that raw footage for other things. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that.
Well, I unfortunately deleted everything from 2015 to 2018, I think, because I was like, because the YouTube thing wasn't like doing anything, wasn't like growing. There's no reason to save all of that stuff. So I just kept deleting and just like keep refilling the same hard drive. And now I have the full videos, but I don't have any of the raw footage anymore.
I got you. I think I don't have the raw footage from my first 1 year, but they were all garbage videos anyway. Like
Same.
Can't even see the camera's shaking all over. Like I'm like, hey, look at this, guys, and the camera's pointing to a tree. So I don't care that I lost those.
A lot of my early videos, though, like Eddie was like 20 years old, and we're like running around the woods, and like we don't know what we're doing, and we're just making stupid jokes. I wish I had a lot of that stuff still. Yeah.
My first video, Doug was 20 years old. And man, what a time that was.
Hey, Brad, Toledo Tab would like to know.
Yes.
What are a couple of your bucket list coins?
Oh, here we go, Brad. Do you have any bucket list coins?
I'm not really much of a coin guy. Like I'm not a coin collector. I'm not, but I would love to find a tree shilling or a tree coin, any denomination.
Yeah.
Any tree. Yeah. The story I always tell is I was invited to this treasure show in Taunton, Massachusetts, Silver City Treasure Seekers, I think was the name of the
Yeah,
group.
I've seen them around. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the first of anything like this I've ever been to. And I went, and there's a lot of big YouTubers, like Jocelyn was there. Dave Wise was there. Everybody had tables of a lot of the cool stuff they found. And I walked around, and it seemed like everybody had a tree coin. Like everybody had a tree coin except me. And some lady I spoke to, she was like, she had two. And I was like, wow, you have two of these, huh? She's like, yeah, I found one on the very first time I ever went metal detecting. I'm like, oh, great. But I would love to find a tree coin, and not even one of like the super, super rare, valuable ones. Just like,
I think they're all super rare and valuable.
well, some of them are more so than others, but I would love to find one of those just because of the history and how old they are and how rare they are. But like, as far as other coins, like I have a gold coin. I've never found like on a US silver dollar, even like a Morgan or anything. But I have found an 8 real, which was a bucket lister until I found it. And like a Vermont copper was a bucket lister until I found it. And
you found a lot of nice Vermont copper last week, I think it was, when you did that miniature train stall. I saw. I've never found a Vermont copper, so that's a bucket lister for me.
Yeah, no, the Vermont copper was on Rebecca's land a couple weeks ago. But it was.
You're right. It wasn't the train guy.
It wasn't the train guy, no. But it was. Yeah, no, that was a great find. I've found like 6 or 7 of them now, but really only one of them is like nice and like deep green, and like you can really see the detail on it.
Yeah, and
it has this is my phone case. It has that sun design on there.
Yeah. Okay.
A landscape. But yeah, as far as like coins are concerned, it's probably the tree shilling. Like I found a lot of the obscure ones, like the Trimes and the 2 cents, and a lot of the state coins, all the state coins. So yeah, probably the tree shilling.
All right. I did see also someone, I forget who it was, I'd have to scroll back, when we asked for a possible name for the Brad live show, they called it Green Mountain Minutes, which I thought was kind of a clever name, Green Mountain Minutes.
Got some alliteration in there.
Right. So like I said, I put so much credence in a good name. So thank you for even putting it up there. I thought it was pretty good. We had a new name for Rich, Brad, which I don't even think you heard yet. Because I worry, because I have weird OCD like this, of, Rich is Rich Van Winkle, and I'll put him on a big real fast because he's got a long beard. And I worry, like, what's going to happen if one day Rich cuts his beard? Now I got no nickname. I can't call him Rich Van Winkle. It doesn't make any sense.
Need a backup.
I need a backup nickname. And somebody, and I forget who it is, I got to go through the past show log, gave me a nickname for him, Richie Coiningham. Come on, how cool is that? Richie Coiningham. So, Rich, whenever you cut your beard, the next day, you're now Richie Coiningham.
And now I'm going to do terrible with coins. That's what's going to happen. And you're never going to be able to call me that.
I don't know. Dog Tag Doug finds a lot of dog tags, and I find an okay amount of quarters. So, you never know. Now, Doug, Charlie, any questions for Brad before we get ready to cut him loose? And Brad, I appreciate you coming on yet again on the show. You are always welcome back.
I appreciate that. I love being here talking to you guys. I would do this even if we weren't on the internet.
Well, you're a good. Well, I wouldn't bother.
We'll extend an invitation to Brad to come down after the holidays.
Brad's always welcome. I said anytime. Brad wants to
we have a couple big farms we can do, and he'll do well.
Yeah, it's a heck of a drive, and once he's comfortable.
Wasn't Brad down in PA last year when we were up in the same farm area?
Yeah, I was invited by our buddy Quay.
Oh,
yeah, he was trying to coordinate Brad and I to both come the same weekend, and something happened, and we weren't able to make it.
Oh, I didn't know that part of the story. Interesting.
We weren't able to make it the weekend you came. We wound up going back, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks after Brad. We actually hunted some of the same land that Brad hunted. So I kind of, I was going to make my video be like a whole thing of, look what Brad missed here. But I thought, that's kind of a jerk thing to do. So I didn't go with that angle.
But Brad, did you ever do a video of that?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. All right.
Brad
that was actually one of my reruns. One of my reruns.
Reruns?
Yep.
That was you found like a large cent that was like, I forget, was it like bent in half or something was really funky with it?
Yeah, it was funny because we spent 2 days with Quay, and I think it was the first day, like in the beginning of the day, he found this thing and he didn't show it to us because it was just kind of like, it looked like it was just a very bizarre, like circular, it almost looked like a ring, but it was like not empty in the middle all the way. It was like a hole was drilled through it. But anyway, so he had it in his bag all day, and then at the very end of the day he showed it to me, and I was looking at it and I was like, man, this is really weird. And like I cleaned out the inside of it and it was a large cent. And what we assumed happened was that somebody had taken the large cent maybe last week or maybe 100 years ago and like hammered it. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I used to do this to quarters.
Yeah, mushroomed over.
You mushrooms out the edge, and then you drill out the center, and you can make it into a ring that way. But it looks like they gave up, or it like flew off into the field or something. But so yeah, he found like a manipulated large cent that seemed like it was being turned into a ring. It was really cool.
Yeah, we found what did we find, Rich? I know you found like a silver spoon, like a 17, maybe early 1800s silver spoon.
Yeah, the silver spoon. You found 1 or 2 coppers right on that hill there.
Yeah, I found a copper and like a merc gun.
Jason, a mercury there. You found.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think Matt found a copper or 2 at the first location.
Yes.
I found that enormous skeleton key.
Yeah, the skeleton key, I remember. Because Quay asked us not to film the neighboring buildings because, he didn't want people to know where we were. So,
sure.
And, which I'm always going to do that. I don't complain. But,
right.
Like you said, my channel is mostly about the banter and I try to show everybody. So it's awkward for me to just be at the ground the whole time. But I'm always going to respect somebody's wishes.
Yeah, he brought us to a bunch of different places.
Yeah, us too. Good
dude. and one of the places in particular was like a family member's like bed and breakfast, and he had invited 2 or 3 other of his buddies we were all there, and I don't know what me and Chris were doing. We were like off in the wrong part of the property, but they were finding like large cents and reals and like all kinds of stuff, and like we didn't find anything.
But the area looked amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the houses and the buildings and the farmhouses
for sure
phenomenal. I thought we were, you always have these expectations of, oh man, we're going to leave with pockets full of hammered silver, and it doesn't always work out that way. But it looked really good. But sometimes you just don't get on it all.
We had a blast.
Yes,
that was a lot of fun. And he was one of the very kind people that reached out and was like, anytime you want to come down, we've got a spot for you to film some content. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, he's a good dude. We just got back 2 weeks ago or so. Our friend Eric, who might be in the chat, invited us up to Cape Cod, and we hunted like 5 or 6 1600s or early 1700s.
Oh, right. He did. He invited me to that as well. And
you were still nervous about the drive. And we got a big Airbnb. We all stayed in there. All of us. Steph Diggs was there staying.
Sounds awesome.
We found more stuff at the Airbnb yard than we did at some of these 1600s houses.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'll probably get 3 or 4 videos out of that. Still,
wow. Good for you.
Well, I film a lot of banter.
Right.
As you can see, there's no shortage of dialogue. But we found a lot of good stuff too. It was a heck of a week. Rich wasn't able to make it. He really missed out on a good one.
Thanks.
Doug, we're getting ready to roll this up. I keep asking you, but I want to try to get out by 9:30 at least. Doug, Charlie, Lynn, Rich, anything for Brad? And I'm going to scroll through in case I missed any questions.
Nothing
from Doug. Thank you, Doug. Thanks for being here, Doug.
All right. I just hope that I hope we can dig together soon again, and maybe you can come down this way.
I would love to.
Able to dig for a while up there. Yeah, we probably won't get any snow.
We had 3 flakes today.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see any flakes.
2 of them are sitting there.
I'm planning on forging you something too, so I'm gonna try.
I hope it has a wooden handle.
I'm gonna try to contact you to
get forge wood.
Hey, Brad, don't fall for that. I'm gonna forge you something.
Uh-oh.
I'm 3 years later. I'm still waiting for a knife.
Oh, I've got a story for you.
Are you forging, Brad, a handmade Paron 2 lightning torch?
Yep, it's already done.
I didn't know you had that ability to do that.
Yep. It's just pop batteries in it, and it's good.
Brad, if you ever do come down, I will even let you stay in my guest room and save you the hotel. Yeah, listen, I offer that to only 2 people in the world. Now, I will say you better lock your door because, there's a lot of pranking.
Oh, you know how I do it, with the broom leaning up against the door, right?
Oh, yeah. Did I tell that story, Doug?
I think you did last time.
Did I tell it last
Kevin
time?
13,
okay,
right?
I don't remember. What a fun time that was. And I plan, maybe you'll go back next year. I'm hoping the whole crew can go up. We'll have a good time. They always treat us good at the Dirt Fishing Adventures. All right, I'm going to wind this up. Charlie, Lynn, last chance for Brad.
Yeah, I thought maybe I would see Brad at Dig It Dude this year, New Jersey. He was at Dig It Dude last year, right?
Right. Yeah, I did want to attend that. I haven't been able to. I wasn't able to get off the couch for the first 5 weeks,
right?
Since the beginning of September, and it kind of fell within that. I missed a lot of stuff this fall. Unfortunately, there was a lot of great events that it sounds like everybody had a great time.
They did. It was a great event that they there.
And trust me, I would have been there. And hopefully the springtime events, I'll be back on my feet by then.
Well, that's good.
I have a question. During your couch time, what did you watch? Did you watch movies or TV or
what did you do, Brad?
Music?
What did I do? So
I'm always looking for stuff to watch. So
did you reread the Harry Potter books?
The first 3 weeks, I couldn't even look at the TV. I couldn't look at my laptop. I couldn't look at my phone. Just like the brain fog and just like feeling uncomfortable. I just like tried to sleep and get through the day. Once I got through that phase, I played a lot of Skyrim. If anybody knows what it's just a video game. I played a lot of Skyrim because I could just like sit on the couch and not do anything. I watched some movies, nothing that really stood out. I didn't really start any television shows or anything. I did a lot of guitar playing to kind of bring my hands back. I didn't really do anything too profound. I didn't start any books or anything. I just played video games and rested mostly.
All right, that's fair. Did your wife give you a pass from doing chores during your illness? Because I know sometimes
some nights she did. Yeah.
Okay.
Some nights she did.
All right, that's fair.
It's always it stinks being sick, but as an adult, it's kind of nice to get guilt-free time to just sit around.
Well, that's why I was saying
if I'm sitting around, I feel guilty unless I'm sick.
I will say there was a lot of I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, but there was a lot of just like kind of pity time for myself, thinking I was dying. There were multiple times I was like writing my will, like this is the end. It's funny to joke about now, but like in the moment I was very, very low. And because I just didn't know what was wrong with me. I felt awful. The doctors weren't telling me anything. And so I was spending a lot of time just like trying not to think about it, and just like playing video games and just trying. I've gained 10 pounds in the last 2 months, haven't been doing my exercising and walking around metal detecting and stuff. But yeah, no, my wife has been amazing. She's, she took over and did everything that I used to do. I'm back on my feet for the most part of these last 3 or 4 weeks, but she's been great.
Gaining 10 pounds is a good sign. Usually when people are sick, they lose weight.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
You don't look 10 pounds heavier. You look good.
No, you don't.
Well, thank you. It's all down below my neck.
Oh, it's all down there. It's on the back side.
Yeah, right.
I know. We all know what that is. We're all well, Brad, listen, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. You look like $1 million. I said,
appreciate
your skin color looks good. You're smiling again. I hope you have more good days than bad days, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for the Green Mountain Metal Detecting Channel.
I appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for your time. And before you go out, I'm going to play one last time, Brad, my new favorite song in full screen. This isn't full screen.
I like the zoom out, by the way.
Look at that. I re-edited it, Brad, to give it the nice, slow, soft zoom.
I loved it.
And I think Brad's selling it on Spotify. You can go check it out right now. I'm not sure what his link is. But Brad, thank you. Like I said, we're going to get ready to get out of here. We'll say goodbyes when you're gone. But thank you for your time, my friend. Everyone had a good time seeing you. And I will probably wind up texting you sometime tomorrow.
Sounds great.
See you later, buddy.
Take it easy.
See you, Brian.
Doug, there he is. The man, the myth, the mountainous legend, Mr. Brad Martin. One of probably my closest friends I've made on the YouTube platform. Oh, hold on. My stupid thing's playing.
Hey, Jack.
Hold on.
I messed that all up.
Oh, my thing's playing.
You want me to start?
I was like, what is that noise? But no, I mean, over the years, I mean, that some of the YouTubers that I've met and actually stay in contact with and text and talk to and all that, probably only like 3 or 4. Not that I'm not friendly with a lot of them, but like Brad and Plugmaster Ford, just people that for whatever reason just really took a liking to. And, I enjoyed them and I don't bother them too much because, I can be a little loud and abrasive, Doug, and Brad and Jeff don't seem to mind as much. Yeah, a little bit. But a good show, Doug. Any final words before we go off? And don't forget, if you get a chance, Doug, Charlie, anyone in the chat, next week we're going to have Wild Kyle on, who is new for me. I've watched a few of his videos. He's a lot of fun, good hunter. He hunts a lot in the creeks for fossils, shark teeth. He hunts a lot with Brandon Nicholas, who was Adventure Archaeology, who was on. They do bottle hunting together. Really good dude. So make sure you guys check him out. He'll be on next week. Again, Wild Kyle. I'm excited to have him on. But any last thoughts, Doug, before we wind this show down?
Yeah, I'm going to do a little self-promoting.
Okay.
Anyone that has not signed up to the Dog Tag Doug Facebook group page, I'm inviting them to do so. I get to go out a little bit during the week and with a couple other guys, and we'll post a video. We got a nice one up there now from yesterday. Matt found 2 real. Beautiful shape.
I saw that, Doug. I saw that. And a Liberty cap, too. Somebody got a Liberty cap.
Got the big Liberty cap. I didn't post that on there, although the picture, I didn't post a video, but the picture's on there. Right. It's the thick one with the writing around the rim.
Yes.
We have the last couple trips there, we've had real good success. So join the page and you'll get to see these once or twice a week.
All right, the Dog Tag Doug Facebook page. Make sure you check it out. I did see Matt's 2 real. It was beautiful detail on it. Was slightly bowed, and I think he bent it back nice. He
straightened it out last night. He told me. Yep.
What was it? A Ferdinand or was it Carlos?
No, it was a Carlos the 4th, 1800. I thought it was.
It didn't look like it was Carlos.
No, well, Carlos the 4th. Oh, so he didn't have quite as big a schnoz as Carlos the 3rd.
Oh, I thought it was a Ferdinand. Okay, well, whatever it was. Heck, we haven't found a 2 real in quite a while.
Yeah,
that was
beautiful. I just could not believe how that, and it was only like 2.5, 3 inches down. Unbelievable.
That's how it happens.
Yep.
Charlie, go ahead, Doug. I'm sorry.
And I got probably $400 worth of aluminum out of that field.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash in that field. There's good stuff,
but there's still good targets there.
Yeah, it's a challenging field. You're going to dig a lot of trash, but there are good things underneath if you work for it.
Yeah.
Charlie, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I want to say that your daily Facebook posts are very cool. I saw one today with Jessica.
Oh, mine, you mean? You mean my? Yeah. I enjoy it. I mean, I'm going back through some new ones, some old ones. Tomorrow I have a really good one, and I try to rotate everybody in so that everyone kind of gets like notable finds and things like that. I really enjoy it. I try when I first started doing it, I was just putting a picture up And just like anything else in my life, now I'm like, I agonize over like an hour-long engaging paragraph, some background. I work with Chat GPT to make sure my grammar's good. And, everything starts off simple. My OCD kicks in, and now I invest way more time than I wanted to.
Right.
But I like it. I'm happy with it. And, I have a relatively small Facebook page, but people seem to be enjoying it. So I'm going to try to keep up with it.
Yeah, you've been doing it almost every day, right?
Every day I try to. At least photos with a story and things like that. I try to.
So I like that.
Well, thanks for noticing. Your wife comments a lot. I always make sure I heart Judy's comments.
Yes, Queen Judy enjoys seeing what you put on there every day.
Yeah. Today, Jessica had a nice picture of Jessica. Yeah. And the picture from today, the video didn't even come out yet. So I'm even giving people some insight into new things because they're not going to remember. So I try to. Every day, I probably, like I said, an hour for pictures, story, all that stuff. But I enjoy it. But thank you for noticing. Rich, Lynn, any last minute things before we get out of this shindig?
I'll just look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night.
Yep.
So
yeah, they might even see. We might even do something, if not live, at least we'll do some group shots or some video. We always have a good time at Lynn's for the annual little Christmas party. We play some games. Doug's usually drunk, half naked, dancing on the pool table. But we have a good time.
You always come home with a bunch of dollar bills, though.
Yeah, you're welcome home if you.
And those tight Speedos, you got to get rid of those tight Speedos.
There's a good food spread. Yeah, we all bring snacks and appetizers, and it's we're all in like street clothes. We're not wearing dirty boots and stinky shirts and everything. So it's a nice get together.
The fires going. It's supposed to be pretty cold.
Yeah,
so.
it'll actually be
it's been cold.
So
yeah,
we can have the fires going, and it'll be a good time.
Will there be chestnuts roasting?
Maybe if you bring them.
I look forward to it. Yeah, twice a year we do a Christmas party at Lynn's, and we do like a summery picnicky thing at Doug's, because Lynn's house is the super cool, and Doug's garden looks amazing. So, and they're centrally located. Charlie and me are on the outskirts of the group. So works out best in the middle. So, all right, I'm going to end this show. Doug, what do you think?
It's about time.
Come on, Doug's falling asleep. I had to poke him a few times, make sure he was awake today. So, all right, everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in next week for Wild Kyle. Thank you again to Brad Green Mountain Metal Detecting for donating 2 hours of his day. And thank you to all of you for tuning in and watching. We will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. So thanks for watching, everybody. Happy hunting, and we'll see you on the next one.
See y'all.